Hey, this is Zepp, and on behalf of the guys, Stru, Boomer, and Lukey, we want to thank you for downloading and listening to our podcast of The Ticket Outdoors, brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm. And remember, when nothing's going right, just go fishing.
For Father's Day, get Dad gifts from his favorite store, Fleet Farm. Dad will feel like a king on the Cloud 9 hanging lounge chair, $158.88. The Berkeley Deluxe Electric Filet Knife Kit is $39.99. A DeWalt 20-volt drill driver kit is $99. Dad can do some serious cooking on a Traeger Little Tex Elite Grill, $599.99. And can't decide? Fleet Farm gift cards make great gifts.
It's time for Ticket Outdoors on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
He's all business. Are we all?
I'm all business.
We're live?
No, Brian Zepp is all business. Brian Zepp's all business, but Brian's not here tonight. You're listening to the Ticket Outdoors. Welcome, everybody. Ticket Outdoors 105. It's Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. It's time.
Happy Hump Day.
We've got a
Hump Day.
couple of hours of a good time here in the Ticket Outdoors. Got great guests tonight, but I'll tell you what, we are Zeppless one more time. Zepp is going to be outside. Here comes the old man, Vaughn. Vaughn Stelmach is back in town as well.
He just popped a couple Viagra's in. He's got a little extra hip in the hop, huh?
Brian Zepp is at the Stones concert, and I just talked to my wife, Diana. She's at the cabin, which she always is, but she said that she was watching the news, and it's raining like a son of a bucket here. You guys are aware of that, and who knows if it's going to slow down, but at the Stones concert, they don't let you bring in umbrellas even. Apparently, it's all either a rain jacket or you're screwed and stand out in the rain the entire night.
You know, we were talking about that at dinner before. Would you sit outside?
Not a chance.
I've done a duck hunting in Mississippi before.
No, I wouldn't do a duck hunting.
Had a chance at a nice pintail.
No, but there's nobody out there that I would pay $500 to see and stand in the rain to say I saw whoever it's going. I don't care if it's the Pope. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No, it's not worth it to me.
What about a chance to see Mark and I fish in the Team Challenge? Would you do it?
For $500? I would.
Dollar donating.
No. I gave Mark a $49 discount on our new boat.
You didn't give me anything, buddy.
Don't lie to me.
Tell us about this boat. No, I just saw that Mark gave you $1,000.
Yeah,
right?
Mark doesn't have a boat. I don't have a boat, and my son Mike doesn't have a boat. But Boomer's got a boat.
T-Pro.
T-Pro 195, I think it is, but from Dan Southside Marine and Alumacraft, and thanks for doing that for Boomer, because we're his best friends right now. But ching, 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 ching. But everyone knows that I sell real estate, and one of my clients. Now, you asked me to tell you a story. You keep interrupting me.
I'm listening.
You thought you were working on that.
You know what? I've only drank green frickin' tea today because I've been a hospice patient for 3 days. So
anyway,
work with me.
One of my clients has. We sold his house in Spooner Lake, Wisconsin. We have a closing a couple of weeks from down the road. He's got a boat in his garage. He moved to Spring Valley, Wisconsin.
Yes.
Well, he's not on a lake anymore. So I said, "What are you gonna do with that boat?" I'll probably get rid of it. What do you want? A couple of grand. It's a 1975 or 80 spring Sea Sprite, and it's kind of it's a deck boat. It's a rounded hull, and it's in good shape. The deck's in good shape. The carpet in good shape. The upholstery's been redone. It's got a 70 horse Johnson on it. Trailer's in good shape.
Yeah.
And I bought it for $2,000. And so next week, Mark and I and my son Mike are going to christen it. And
hold on. You just said christen a boat, and you and Mark.
No, but that's when you break a bottle on the bow. Is that what it's called?
I see. Well, Mark and I got to go to Gull Lake and fish the Minnesota Teen Challenge, and we took the Alumacraft T-Pro 195. Now, I understand that I'm going to be biased, but the best aluminum boat on the market. We went up there, and then I'm excited because on Sunday or Monday I leave, and I'll be doing the blessed to do the photo catalog shoot with Alumacraft for a few days. So
where's that going to be?
Undisclosed locations is what I was told. They had a whole format of Federal Dam, Leech Lake. No, but I mean,
you're just going to drive around in a circle and hope you find the place. What do you mean it's undisclosed, even to you?
Well, no. Some of the lakes that we're actually going to be hopping the Alumacraft crew. Benny Spies is coming in town. There's a few other folks. And we're going to be hopping around between, I'd say, 4 or 5 different lakes in northern Minnesota to get our photos for next year's catalog shoot. So,
what day is this going to be?
I think the party's going to start at about Sunday, okay? And it's going to end around Thursday.
So Benny Spies is going to be in the state of Minnesota through Thursday, maybe?
I believe he is not. They've done a really good job of telling us where we need to be, when we need to be, and I think Benny is only around on Sunday. to do some stuff, and then he's flying out of here.
You know what I'll do? Benny, I don't know if you know, Ted Kaminsky's here. He's our first guest this evening at about 7:20 or so. But Benny Spies, if some of you guys who listen to the show pick it up on the podcast,
right.
By the way, it's rebroadcast every Sunday morning from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
And don't forget to follow us at facebook.com/TheTicketOutdoors.
That's your job. I don't know how to say that much stuff. But Benny Spies has a television show called Gun It with Benny Spies, right?
Sportsman's Channel,
and it's on the Sportsman's Channel. I tell you what, it is wonderful. He's funnier than hell. He's become a good friend of ours on this for the studio here. It'd be fun to have him in studio. But if he's in town, Minnesota, on Wednesday, I'm going to give him a call and see if we'll get him back on the air on Wednesday night. He's a fun guy.
I think he's going to be traveling. I think the folks are going to be up there. You guys remember Reed Utola from Wings and Walleyes Guide Service? I know he's going to be up there Tuesday, Wednesday. I think Aaron Weeb from Uncut Angling. It's going to be a blast because you don't get to see everyone.
Right.
You're out traveling, the sports shows. I just forgot.
Is there pressure to catch fish for a catalog like that? I mean, are they expecting you to catch big fish?
Yeah, they better lower those expectations after this weekend.
No, I'll tell you, hey, Mark,
absolutely.
All they've got to do is go down to Kentucky and pick up all those dead bass on the shoreline down there. We'll talk about that later on as well.
Oh, yeah, that was a big deal. John Thielen will be up there, so it's going to be fun. I mean, I had a little taste of that at Devil's Lake last weekend when that big northern decided to chomp into my thumb. That was kind of a lot of fun. So you learn a lot when you do those events because there's all kinds of amazing anglers. I mean, this weekend we were rubbing elbows with Mr. Walleye Dan and the Linders and Shara and Carney. Now, speaking of, rubbing elbows, Stu, Mark's got a little bit of man crush on Mitchell.
I know he does. Yeah, I know he did. He kicked us out of a photo one time last year.
So we showed up to this dinner Friday at church, and again, I'm half under the bag and not telling anybody. And I look at Mark, and I'm like, God, there's just no Mitchell here. And it's like someone just deflated his chest. Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what, before we go any further and talk about Teen Challenge, because I want to hear all about that, because it's a big, big deal. I'm proud of you guys and good
270 G's, buddy, is what was raised.
I'm glad for you guys. But anyway, thanks for listening to Ticket Outdoors on 105. We got Dave, am I correct? Dave is our board guy tonight. Am I correct? I think that's right. Yeah, Dave's taking over for Zepp, who's at the Stones concert. Mark Lukey, our producer, is going to do some BSing with us tonight as well. I'm Steve Strusinski, the wild card, and Boomer Stelmack is here. That's who you have an opportunity to listen to the entire night. Aren't you lucky? Go ahead, Boom.
You sorry sons of bees. But hey, let's give a shout out to the folks that let us hunt and fish and talk about it on the radio. Dan Southside Marine, those guys do an awesome job rigging out the T-Pro. If you're still looking for a graph, GPS, trolling motor, or just some general boat advice, go visit Dan Southside Marine down on Bloomington. Fleet Farm, I know we're going to have a little spot for them in a second, but if you're still looking to get some fishing tackle, some bobbers, some rods and reels, say hello to the folks at Fleet Farm. Man, they've been with the show now. We've been around how long?
Pretty much day one.
Day one?
Yeah, pretty much day one.
And speaking of Fleet Farm, I'm going to do my best Zep here. Summer's here, and whether you're going on a road trip or going to the store, you'll need a great set of tires. During Mills Fleet Farm Destination Summer Drive event, you'll receive up to a $70 prepaid card when you purchase a new set of 4 qualifying Cooper tires.
Zep was just castrated, apparently, because that didn't sound like
that high. Is
that
it
didn't
really?
sound like Brian Zepp at all. Hey, let's talk about.
Trying to do this goddamn son of a.
Oh no.
Let's talk about Alumacraft down in St. Peter, Minnesota. I'm going to be blessed to get down there, and I'm going to be picking up a new boat for the photo shoot. So I'm really pumped. I haven't got to see it yet, but I'll pick that up. We're going to be doing a catalog shoot, but Alumacraft down in St. Peter, Minnesota. Lakes Trading Company, which Drew called me out last week. They're in Forest Lake.
Yep.
So if you're looking to sight in your rifle or get some general advice on buying a gun, go visit those folks.
I'm going there tomorrow, by the way.
Are you really?
Yeah. You want to go shooting?
Yeah, maybe.
Let's do it.
I'm down. Custom truck accessories. Now, I saw Zepp's truck out there. It's pretty pimped out right now, isn't it?
Yep.
I blew that one, didn't I?
Mike Morris's, too.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about Teen Challenge. Last week, you guys, Boomer's talking about, Mark and Boomer had a chance to go to fish up at Gull Lake. Cragen's Resort, I think is what it's called, and for something called Teen Challenge. Huge fundraiser, and where they combine, they match professional fishermen with kids and young adults who are having issues. No professional fishermen.
You were way off the beaten path, brother.
All right, and the Twins are winning 17-4.
Yeah,
Tell us what happened.
You know, Teen Challenge is something that's special to my heart, Drew. I've supported that organization for a couple years, and I was really excited that Mark got to come up there with me because, one, he'd actually pay for half the expenses, unlike you. No, it was up on Gull Lake, and there was 120 boats, and it's all about raising money for boys and girls that are in a time of need. And I think all of us in our
adults too, really.
Adults too, yep. all of us, I think, can get in funks every once in a while and need someone to kind of pick us up and get us back on the beaten path.
Yep.
And a bunch of, I would say, celebrities. Steve Panaz, the buddy I was out with in Devil's Lake, who does Lake Commandos for Sportsman's Channel. Shara was there. Steve Carney, a guest of the show. I mean, it was like an alumni for our show.
Sounds
the more
like
I think about it, the Linders were there. A lot of different executives that own pretty good, large-sized companies in the state of Minnesota were there. And this tournament raised 270 G's. I mean, that's some
money.
cash, man.
And that's a 1 or 2 day deal, right?
Yeah, it's a 2-day. Actually, you get up there on Friday, and Mark and I both got up there, midday Friday afternoon? Yep. And then we went to the church, and they had like a nice little dinner, and then the kids told their stories, and, they pretty much open up their heart about what they've done, where they've been in life, and it's pretty emotional. It's pretty sensitive.
And I got kicked out after 5 minutes because I brought my 2-year-old, and of course he started crying. Entire church full of people. I grab him, run out, and they're cracking jokes about, now I know what a pastor feels like, blah, blah, blah. That was embarrassing that I finally get to meet all these people, and I'm dragging my child out of there, screaming.
What a great experience. Good for you guys.
It was good. And then so Marky and I went out on Saturday morning in the Illumicraft, and, I was feeling pretty good. We went on the north end of the lake. The wind was all over the place. You had a couple days of cold front, and I was thinking that there'd be some wind blowing areas that were going to be right off some inside curves near the shallows that we could hit. And we went right after the walleyes. Now, I was feeling pretty hot. Walleye Dan came right behind us, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel pretty good about this. We found some fish, and we got into some fish, but we really had a mixed bag of what we had caught. It was pike, it was everyone's favorite hot dog on a bobber, a largemouth bass, a rock bass, sunfish. We had a mixed bag of everything.
Should I tell them your perch story?
Yes, let's hear it. You jerk.
So in this tournament, there's categories for every kind of fish, panfish, everything. So we're fishing away. Boomer catches a really nice perch. Walleye Dan was next to us. He thought it was a walleye.
That's a winner, right? That's a winner.
For sure.
Right, that's a winner.
And he shows me, looks at it, and throws it in the water. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, oh, oops. So he totally forgot that we could enter a panfish division. So I
was having some stomach issues, Ted. I was in a world of pain.
The biggest panfish of the day out like it was nothing. I'm just like,
So how much would that panfish have brought you financially? A couple $100?
No.
I think it was all prizes.
It was all prizes.
And he would have donated it back anyway. But it's
you know what? I would have donated all that back anyway. So it was a lot of fun. And then Mark and I ran around, and then we went into the weigh-in, which was at the beach there at Craigan's, and that was kind of nice. Good weather. It finally warmed up. I was freezing my ass off in the morning. You?
It was really cold, and we were sitting there fishing, and I'd see kids tubing by us in swimsuits. I'm like, what the hell are their parents thinking? I had a coat, sweatshirt, everything, and I was freezing the whole time.
I got to tell you a couple of things that will be happening in my life the next month or two, a couple of months down the road. But go ahead, and boom.
Well, there's something bigger than the Gull Lake Teen Challenge, though. Besides that, we did sneak back out, and we got Mark's boy his first fish. Tell it, Mark.
Yeah, it was a great time. A lot of room in the T-Pro. We were throwing bobbers, and it was a lot of fun. He caught some bluegills, and Boomer gave him some jigs that he hasn't let go of in about 3 days. So it was a good time.
He's a little stud. He's going to be a heartbreaker and a fisherman. All right, Stu, what do you got?
If we only have about a minute and a half, right? Boy, can I say anything about a minute and a half? Nope. Dave was giving me the finger back there, which means the 1 finger, 1 minute. You guys asked me if I wanted to come and have dinner tonight, and I had a 2-hour meeting. A couple of things happened the last couple of days. Yep. Number one, Mark and I talked about this. My wife, Diana's listening right now in Chetek, Wisconsin.
You're beautiful.
Yeah, my gorgeous wife, Diana.
Good cooking
I just
wife.
got us Honey Sugar Plum. You and I are taking a 6-hour kayaking ride down the Kinney River in Rivers Falls area sometime this summer. So aren't you excited about that? She's not excited about sitting in the kayak for 2 hours. But we also have for 6 hours.
Yeah.
But we just got done having a big meeting about this Grand Canyon hike I'm going to be doing in October. We're going to be gone for 3 days, taking 2 days and staying down at the bottom of Phantom Ranch. I can't wait to hike the Grand Canyon. That's what I was doing this afternoon. That is hot.
All right, so we're going to take us into break next. We're going to have Ted Kaminsky in studio. He's going to talk about financial aspects of the outdoor industry. Simmer down on Ticket Outdoors.
St. Paul Saints baseball in downtown St. Paul. Come join Radioactive Sports at the biggest party in Lower Town.
We'll be broadcasting live from the front gate of CHS Field. Monday night, the Saints take on the Joplin Blasters, and we'll be there from 4 to 7 talking Saints and more.
And we'll have tickets to give away, too. Saints baseball in a brand spanking new ballpark, and we're broadcasting live before the game.
Only on Minnesota Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
Load up the lumber at Mills Fleet Farm. ProWood treated lumber preferred by contractors is on sale. Rejuvenate and protect your driveway with Jet Coat Premium Driveway Filler and Sealer. $14.99 a pail. Get power and speed with the DeWalt 18-volt Bear cordless grease gun on sale. $118.99. The 3M Tech WorkTunes hearing protector is $29.99. And all Dickies denim is on sale at Mills Fleet Farm. Love it.
Smokes! That's the 4th straight kill shot.
I've been getting in some practice.
Is that a new rifle, too?
Yep, traded for it. Make that 5.
Lakes Trading Company. Buy, sell, trade, and receive expert firearms training. Permit to carry classes are also available at the indoor range. LakesTradingCo.com.
Hi, it's Tom with Dan Chesky from Dan's Southside Marine, introducing Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale. The damn thing takes place now, goes through Father's Day, which should take away all of your excuses for not showing up. The perfect time for Dan's Damn Boat Sale at Dan's Southside Marine.
Get great savings on Premier, Alumacraft, and Berkshire boats coming right out of my pocket. Any damn boat you see on the website's for sale, so shop online for any damn boat you want, or come down to the store at 98th and Logan in Bloomington and see him in person. Pretty damn easy, huh?
It's Dan Chesky's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington.
Our dealer incentives and factory rebates will save you a lot, and I will pitch in a few goodies too. So visit our damn website and check out the damn savings.
Everybody's talking about it. Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now through Father's Day at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington, or you can shop online at dansouthsidemarine.com.
This is your 105 The Ticket weather from Nature's Fury. Tonight, going to be mostly cloudy. Hopefully the rain goes away, low of 63. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy again. A small chance of rain, high of 80. Going to be muggy. Friday, the start of your weekend, 77. Again, a small chance of rain, about 10%. Saturday and Sunday, the rain chance increases, about 50-50 both days. High of 77 on Saturday, 78, and scattered thunderstorms on Sunday. This weather update's brought to you by Nature's Fury. You can find Nature's Fury at your local Cub Foods and select holiday stores.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
And Sports Radio 105, The Ticket is where we are. I'm Steve Strusinski, Wildcard, Jeff Stelmack, my buddy Boomer, Dave the engineer, and Mark Lukey, our producer, sitting in for our friend Brian Zepp, who's at the Stones concert tonight, and I hope he stays dry. But thanks for listening tonight, you guys. Hey,
he's not dry.
He's gone.
I'll tell you what, we're going to be talking to in a couple of minutes here to Ted Kaminsky. And Ted Kaminsky is
a baseball player?
No. I got here someplace.
That's the Unabomber.
He's a financial representative.
I swear to God, someone asked me that on the phone today when I said you were on the show.
One letter off.
Holy shoot!
Yeah, there you go. We've got the Unabomber. No, Ted is a financial representative for Mutual of Omaha. He's going to talk about not only fishing and hunting and some of the stories he's got, but how to help people get going. He works with a lot of people like Boomer and other people trying to aspiring professionals, trying to make sure they're going in the right direction financially when it comes to that game. We also have John Nelson next after that. He's president of the Minnesota State High School Clay Target League, and that is going bonkers. Wait to hear the numbers where that is today as compared to 4 years ago. And then we got two young ladies, Liz Thien and Elaine Franta. They're two young girls from the White Bear Lake area who got their first turkey this year. That'll be a fun story with them talking about that.
That's going to be good.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So right now, Ted Kaminsky, welcome to the Ticket Outdoors.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right. Yeah, you're done. All right, next is John Nelson.
All right, thank you for joining Ticket Outdoors. All right, I'm boring enough. So.
All right, no, Ted, give us a little bit about your background. I know you're a financial representative with Mutual of Omaha, but what about your outdoor life? What about hunting and fishing? What's your background?
You know, I started fishing when I was just a young kid, hunting when I was just a young kid, and just, you know what? I just love to do it. I do the financial side of it, so I can hunt and fish. That's all. You know, that's my life. But you know what? We
we got into hardcore fishing and, fishing tournaments. And, I just said, you know what, there's a lot of need for these guys, that they really need the help on the financial side, how to plan, how to budget, how to protect their families, and really, designed a bunch of programs around that and how to really protect them. So
I can tell you what, Ted, I wish I would have ran into you, brother, about 5 years ago, because when I decided to make this journey in the personality life of whatever you want to call it, everyone likes to measure egos a little bit, but, getting paid to work in the outdoor industry. That's right. I mean, you put
it's called
together,
getting paid to doing something you absolutely love.
You betcha, right?
And I have all the respect in the world for you for chasing that dream, because you're gonna go there. Keep on going.
I appreciate it, buddy.
You bet.
Can I get a little hug?
Catalogs now? Jeez.
No. Yeah.
TV.
But keep on going. I apologize.
Head swelling up here, but no. But it is a tough journey, emotionally, financially. I mean, there were days where I wanted to pound my head on the pavement, being like, "You stupid son of a." And I never knew there was someone like you, right? So this is a really good. I guess I want to talk to our listeners who are listening out there. If you have a GoPro or you've got a phone and you want to be someone, a boy or a girl in the outdoor industry, you need to buckle in and listen to this, because I tell you what, this wasn't available for when I was out there, and I can tell you there's a great percentage of people that go into this with a lot of enthusiasm, Stu, and we've all met them.
Yep.
And it's really tough financially, and then you have to go back to the 8 to 5. Right. But when you go balls in, like you know what I mean? You're all in, and you either make it or you don't, and the rewards are amazing. But let's listen.
And it's expensive. It's an expensive hobby, and we all know.
Right. So all right. So tell us some more. Now I'm done.
You got off your soapbox now. No, but I was like, you know what, this is an area that a lot of guys need help, and ladies for that matter too. You had Nicole Jacobs in here a couple weeks back, and that's the same kind of thing. So it's one of the things that I just have a lot of passion for. I have a lot of passion for helping people out in the financial arena anyways, and when I can mix that together with the outdoors industry, I'm like, where do I sign up? How do I get more of this? How do I do more of this? So that's where it really all stemmed from. So we designed a lot of programs really to help them out and go forward from there. So it's been a journey, that's for sure.
So how do you market yourself to boys and girls that want to get in the outdoor industry? How do they find you? Because I'm serious. When I started this 5 years ago, I'm pretty passionate. I didn't know there was a resource like you out there. It would have been amazing.
I do a lot with associations. Been the NPAA, National Professional Anglers Association, different outdoor arenas that I do a lot of work with. But it's tough. It's tough actually to get that media to find the people that are there. So it's not easy. It's not easy for me to find you, and let alone for you to,
Sponsorships are available on the ticket.
Hey, my guess is you can't go places and chase clients, because people who are like Boomer, who are chasing this dream per se, have egos, and they're embarrassed to ask for help, I'm guessing, because I can do this, and I'm guessing it's got to be difficult for you. Someone's got to come to you and say, listen, here's what I want to do, and I want you to help me get there. What is different between helping someone like that get ahead to the future as compared to someone who's working a 9-to-5 job?
It's really about being able to relate to them. I've fished in the angler, fished in the walleye circuits. So I know what it takes. It takes a lot more, there's just the financial commitment alone. I know on the pro side to fish the walleye circuit, you're talking $5,000 a tournament.
Really?
Between entry fees and bait and gas, knowing how to budget for that, that's a big part of what I do.
And alimony, all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's after you're divorced, but I mean,
my God,
yeah. Let me jump on the bandwagon here. So I think the other thing that'd be interesting is as you give these athletes or personalities advice as they get into the outdoors. Sure, I remember the first 2 years of going to shows. I put like 85,000 miles on my truck. I remember, and it's not only the financial burden, but Ted, talk about maybe just the personal burden, right? You don't have a life, man. I didn't have a life.
No, and I have sponsors of myself through the fishing arena and things like that, and so I've walked in those shoes. I know what that's like, and it's not only not a life from that standpoint, but it's just the amount of stress that it puts on a family.
Right.
And really being able to, and that's where a lot of where I come into being a coach, being a coach to that person and not a mentor, because I guess some people might consider that, but it's more about a coach because of the past, the history with it.
All right. So now that we're all done with our story boxes, let's sit back for our listeners. We have Ted Kaminsky. He's a we'll call him a life coach for folks that are wanting to get into the outdoor industry. Listen in, listeners. He's not just some dude sitting here that has fished and said, I can help you financially. He's actually got a degree. Please tell me I'm right? Right?
Yeah,
all right. He's got a degree. He's got his series. What was that when I went to school? Series 7, right? Or something like that.
6 and 63.
6 and 63. So he's been certified to give you some financial advice. All right. I'm 5 years ago, and I walk into you and I say, you know what? I want to follow my dream. Let's walk our listeners through what the conversation's like.
Well, that conversation would start off with, okay, what's your income? What do you have in savings? What do you plan on doing? Do you plan on fishing tournaments? Do you plan on being a personality? Do you plan on going down the TV arena?
Right.
What does that look like? And then, how much does that cost? How much are you missing out on? What's your income going to be going forward? What do you project it at? Doing some projections out. And it's really, it's a case by case situation. Nobody is put into the same situation, and nobody has the same thing for themselves.
Right.
It's me, you, or anybody else walking down the street.
Yep.
So it's really about finding the right shoe for them and really asking the right questions. Asking the right questions as far as, what does your future look like? What is the money? What kind of money do you need? What kind of money do you have? Is this a pipe dream, or is this something you can financially do? And then, you also look at families and things like that as well, because a lot of times everybody's got families, whether it be kids or whether it be wives or whatever that is. I don't want to, I joke about it, but I don't want to see anybody divorced because they love to fish.
Right.
That's a big deal behind it. And the number one reason why people are divorced is money.
You and I spoke about this a little bit earlier today. Maybe it was yesterday, but my guess is, just from being on the air for the last year and a half or so, my guess is 1 to 2% of the guys who are doing this can actually do it full time and support their families.
I'd say less than that.
Okay.
It's a very small percentage. I know. I just think about the tournament side and how many guys are paid to fish, as opposed to how many guys have jobs, and it maybe hits 1%.
Okay.
How do people react to that when they come in there with their
like being
heart?
A pro athlete?
Yeah, but you got your heart in your hand, and you go to a guy like yourself, Ted, and you're like, guy or girl, and you go to Ted and you say, this is something that I want to do. I want to follow my dream. Are you blunt with them? And are you like, look, this is great, but less than 1% are going to do this full time and make some cash to support their friends, family, whatever?
And you have to be realistic. I guess I try not to be blunt. You have to be honest. That's 100% honesty, but being blunt can sometimes hurt people's feelings. And and like Stu's talked about, there's an ego there. People got these egos, and you really can't step on that ego, because you're going to make an enemy real quick, and then they're going to walk the other direction, and you're not going to be able to help them anymore. So, but it's really about that total balance. You have to be honest, and you have to be upfront with them, but you can't step on somebody's dream either. And if that's your dream, that's your dream.
Are you currently working with men or women who are in the fishing industry who are trying to make this a go right now? You do have clients who are trying to make this a go?
100%, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How many clients approximately are you working with?
In the industry or in the fishing industry?
Right.
About 40.
Really? That's quite a clientele base. Good for you.
All right, and that's going to be a really good segue. We're with Ted Kaminsky, who's a financial coach for folks looking to make a living in the outdoor industry. Tune in next to Ticket Outdoors.
From pro to college to high school, we've got it all covered.
I would trade them. The career arc intersecting with one's prime, blah, blah, blahs. The rest of the roster ready to win when your star player is still in that window.
Passionate sports talk on your sports station. 105 The Ticket.
Boomer here from the Ticket Outdoors. Well, we made it through another long, cold winter in Minnesota. And guess what that means? It's time to hit the open water, baby. And I'm pumped to get back into the Alumacraft T-Pro 195 and get her wet. And I want to remind our listeners, now is a great time to check out the new lineup of Alumacraft boats. I love Alumacraft because they're made right here in Minnesota, and they're simply the best aluminum boat on the water. To learn more about Alumacraft and to find a dealer near you, go to alumacraft.com.
This isn't one of those silly, overdone commercials that makes you change stations. Nope, this is a good old-fashioned nuts and bolts commercial. Really, it's about nuts, bolts, and hardware. It's about you and Mills Fleet Farm. If you make a living fixing things and building things, you use plenty of hardware. When it comes to hardware, you need great quality, selection, and price. You need Mills Fleet Farm.
Steve Straczynski here of Coldwell Banker Burnett. It's time, my friend. If you're a Ticket Outdoors fan, then you're also a fan of hunting and fishing. I've got 29 years in real estate licensed in both Minnesota and Wisconsin, and I'll consider it a privilege to help you find that perfect lake home or the 40-acre piece of heaven that's hiding a Boone and Crockett right now. Hey, check me out on Facebook or email stru@stru.com. It's your money. Thanks. And thanks for having fun with us on the Ticket Outdoors.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Ticket Outdoors 105 Wednesday night. 105.35 and 7, depending where you are in the Twin Cities.
Nope.
Our radio show, what is it? 105.37?
105.1, 105.3, and 105.7.
We reach about 9 blocks around this studio, but we're kicking ass. We
got a good chunk of listeners.
Hey, we're with Ted Kaminsky, and Ted Kaminsky is with Mutual of Omaha. You want to reach Ted? 612-272-9267. 612-272-9267. So when you re-listen to this thing Sunday morning from 6 to 8 or podcast it, give Ted a call if you have any questions
There's
about...
also ted-kaminsky.com.
Ted-Kaminsky.com. Go ahead, Boom.
All right, so Ted, let's talk some more grit here because I get pretty emotional with this subject because you lost and gained a lot in the industry. So and friendships and lost and gained some great ones. But so you sit down with these folks. And I asked you what you were going to do with me, and you say, how much money do you make? Where do you work? What's your family life? How much you got in your savings account?
Get the facts.
Get the facts, right? What do you realistically tell these people, boys or girls, and my heart bleeds for them, how much they're going to make their first year?
Well, I mean, it depends on your, luck or skill level. I mean, if you can haul out and win a big tournament, well, you could do pretty well. And there's been guys that have done it. Many different pros have won tournaments first year or placed high in the first years.
Right.
I know that on the tournament circuit, prize money's gone down significantly, so it's harder to even to make it yet. And so it's a lot about, doing the back office side and running it like a business.
Yeah. I would add to that. Sorry, Stu, but I would add to that. I love to walleye fish. I mean, as these guys know, joking around, there's a lot of great fishing out there. I'm getting into the offshore stuff more and more, but I love to walleye fish. But the walleye fishing tourney scene doesn't have as big as payouts as it used to. The bass world does. I got to give those dudes dudettes props. I mean, it's some crazy money. It's a great environment, ambiance. They do a nice job. But so the tournament money isn't there. So keep going.
So you really have to, it's really about how you're running, what you're doing for sponsors. And it's honestly, from a sponsorship side, a lot of sponsors don't care how many tournaments you win nowadays. They care about what you're selling. Are you out doing the presentations? Are you out doing that stuff to really promote the industry, promote their products?
Yeah.
And if they can see you're doing that, they're willing to give up some more dough or do some more things for you. And there's a lot more there.
Can you tell us a story about something that's happening right now? Of course, do not use names. About some client you're working with who you're trying to, maybe he's been with you for 6-7 months, maybe a year, as to how this person started with you, where they are, and what kind of advice you've been giving them, and where they are right now.
There's several different. I know some of the situations that hasn't been in the real recent history, but we actually created some programs with some pioneers in the industry, created programs especially for replacing angler income. So what that really does is that if you're sponsored and you're getting income from a certain sponsor, it was very difficult for an insurance company to actually say, what is this is income, you're fishing. Honestly, what the insurance industry, what they did is they considered you with deadliest catch.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a professional angler, they said you're deadliest catch angler, and you're uninsurable because those guys got the most dangerous job in the world. Well,
Right.
I mean, obviously, Boomer, we're not in the most dangerous job in the world, although, you can do some stupid stuff in the boat, but it's not, I wouldn't call it the most dangerous job in the world.
Yeah, you haven't fished with Boomer, boy. I tell you, Mark and I have. And, hey, I'll tell you
Don't
what.
step on the gunnels.
Yeah, hey, I gotta give a heads up to Janet and Rolf. Janet and Rolf put me in touch with you, Ted Kaminsky here, and Janet's got a friend, a cabin next to ours in Chautauqua, and thank you very much for mentioning Ted's name. But I tell you what, Janet, he's a lot chubbier than his picture looks at right here.
Come on.
You didn't tell me that.
Slim and trim and
you didn't tell me that.
Now that we're
Janet.
throwing dirt on each other.
Yeah.
What's up with the pink sandals?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, they be pink Crocs, if you really want to know.
Pink Crocs. Is there a story behind that?
There's actually a big story behind it. We were actually headed out to a tournament where you were just out there, Devil's Lake, and if you guys know Albertville, there's a Croc store.
Yes.
I was in there rolling in there.
I was just at that outlet store.
Yeah, you got the camo pair on here.
I know.
Oh, Jesus.
So I'm rolling in there.
Already.
I was getting a red pair, and sitting on it's just like an omen. I was sitting in the Big Ben right next to the checkout lane. There's a pair of pink Crocs for $5, size 13, and
your foot size is
size 13. It just happened to be that way. So I'm like, if you guys didn't even know what Crocs cost, it ain't $5 on a normal level.
Yeah.
They're $40-$50. So it's just one of those things.
Wow, that's
so. I said, all right, I got to have these as a joke. Well, I went out there, actually finished second in that tournament.
Wonderful.
On the front page of, at that time it was the FLW Walleye Tour. Now it's the NWT. On the front page of their website was a picture of nothing but my shoe. So it was, it started that, and the next tournament I finished fifth. So it was just like, oh my gosh, it's just a whirlwind. And then my brother had to one up me, and so he started Pink Boats for Hope, and so they run around in pink
Kevin? Is that Kevin and
Kevin Kirkflay and Dean Kaminsky?
Yes. Yep. I know those guys.
Yep. Oh, that's wonderful.
So they started Pink Boats for Hope because he had to one up me because he couldn't stand me getting all the attention. So they got the
pink boat, pink Crocs.
Now, like
pink
me,
boat,
do you have Crocs for every occasion? Because I have a lawn mowing Crocs. I have the out on the town Crocs.
Well, I got the old ones. that they just graduate down. And then when I was there, on the way back, I didn't tell the full story. On the way back, since they're only $5, I stopped and bought like 5 pair.
There you go.
So they're all sitting in my closet, and I just graduate them down. And so now when they get a little
Everybody thought that I was the only gay guy on this show.
I do admit, though, he does have some badass Max 4 camo Crocs for duck hunting. You got some good ones.
Hey, since we're talking about your fishing background, we got 10 minutes here, but since we're talking about your fishing background, we'll get back into the financial advising part of it later on as well. But tell us, you talked about Devil's Lake, and I think you mentioned that Erie Lake is another one of your favorite lakes. Tell us some stories about what happened there. I know you shared something with me earlier where you did some great things on Erie Lake, but some things didn't go as well. Let's talk about the crap.
Yeah, we were out there, and I don't know if any of you guys have actually fished Lake Erie or not, but we were fishing some tournaments out there, and the biggest thing about Lake Erie is finding clear water.
Most of it's on fire.
It used to be. It's not anymore. It's actually, if you get out there on a bad day, it's like gin clear water. But it's when the storms blow, they blow in mud, and it turns it into chocolate milk. And I mean, if you ever stuck your head in chocolate milk, you can't see nothing. So how do you expect a walleye to? So we actually, me and my brother went out on a lake, and it was a day before the tournament, and there was about 12-foot waves out there. And it was the biggest waves I ever been in my life. I mean, you get to the top of a wave and the whole boat would just tip down, and you come down the backside, you go up, and whole bow would come out and then tip down, and you pull the whole motor out of the water and everything.
On from the Chippewa down.
So it is like
exactly.
And
then
don't tell your insurance guy.
But it wasn't even. That was fine. Everything was good there. But the part when we got in 10 foot of water kind of scared me. It scared the hell out of me because he stuck this prop in the water. We're dead. Yeah. I mean, we're goners in a heartbeat. Yeah. So it was fun. We did pretty well in the tournament, so it was all good.
And how about hunting? You like to hunt ducks, geese? What do you like to hunt?
If it lives, I kill it. So I ducks, geese, pheasants. We got a farm, family farm up in the Sauk Center area. We do a lot of pheasant deer hunting in the state here. I hunt Kansas and Wyoming, bow hunting out in Wyoming, and muzzleloader down in Kansas.
Is that farm near Sauk Center radio personality friendly? I'm asking for a free trip.
Oh, we can take you
All
up there.
right. See how that works?
But all you do is deer hunt.
No, I'll hunt pheasant this time. I've got an 870 Remington. I'll shoot one of these.
As long as it's no colder than 50 degrees, sun is shining, free, the wind is less than 5 miles an hour from the north.
And I can drive up there though. Come on now.
And I can have
He'll hitch a ride.
He can have his. Stru will have his. I love Stru to death. I mean, we've gone on some amazing trips together, but Stru will have his one thermos for the morning, which will be sober.
Yes.
And then he'll have his one thermos for the afternoon where I'm like,
mouthwash bottle.
for his mouthwash. His Listerine bottle at Devil's Lake.
It's not quite like that. Tell us about your Wyoming hunting trips.
We've done pretty well out there. It's been like 2 years since I've been actually out there now. I got three Pope and Youngs from out there.
Really good for you.
I had a 131 and 136 and then a 130 and 7/8. So I did pretty well out there. Shot my biggest buck though actually down in Kansas, a 168 and 7/8.
And that's Pope and Young as well. Is that you're talking bow and arrow? Or was that rifle?
Well, actually, the one down in Wyoming was actually muzzleloader.
Okay.
So that was I worked as you talk about that in other shows. It makes more sense. It just means so much more when you work your butt off and do something, and that's what it was. I was sit all day, 8 days, and then morning of the 8th day, there he was.
Where do you go hunt in Wyoming?
Right around Hewlett.
All right, so I go out every year to Medicine Bow, Wyoming, if you know where that is, where the old TV show, this is back in my dad's and Stru's era, the Virginian.
Oh,
Remember the TV show Virginian? That's where we stay, is at the Virginian. So that mule deer hunting or antelope hunting, that's just a whole different game. I mean, your average shot is about 300-400 yards.
Yeah,
there's sneaky
rifle hunt out there
animals.
is just crazy, yeah. We're shooting all whiteys though. We're shooting all whitetails mostly. We got a couple muleys, but mostly all whitetails out there. We're in a very, very northeast
Is that
corner.
public land you guys are going, or what?
No. We hunted on a ranch out there. We had a really good, ended up being start to be a family friend, but he had about 8,000 acres of private land out there that we can hunt.
Wow.
That's a hobby farm out there.
Wow.
It's you might think it's big, but out there that's nothing.
Is that right?
They're just massive. I mean, it's 20, 40,000 is nothing.
You've done a lot more hunting and fishing than I'll ever do. Tell me what's on your bucket list. If you had one special hunt or one special fishing trip you could do before you died, what would it be?
It will be Yukon moose. I want a Yukon moose. I actually want a grizzly too, but Yukon moose is right up there, and it's pretty easy because my wife wants me to get one, shoot one too. So that makes it a lot easier.
You better
Hey,
talk.
Dad, you chased one of those, didn't you?
You better talk to a financial advisor. That's about a $30,000 trip right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's chump change for us guys, I guess. So they say.
You know what? Mine is to chase a big royal elk from the Gila. The New Mexico, the Gila elks, where they're just the
Indian
climate.
reservation down there?
Yeah, right outside of it. Yep. All right, so we've got Ted Kaminsky, not the Ted Kaminsky you might think otherwise, but the one that is the financial coach for about 40 hunting and fishing professionals in the industry. We've got about 4 minutes before we wrap up. Ted, share with our listeners how they can get a hold of you.
It's pretty easy. Ted-Kaminsky.com is real simple. You can drop me an email right on that page. You can learn a little bit more about me. Phone number, Stru said it earlier, 612-272-9267. Otherwise, you can email. It's ted.kaminsky@mutualofomaha.com.
Ted, I'm going to bring up the same thing I talked about earlier, is that I'm guessing people in this industry, everybody in this industry, thinks they're the best. They have a chance to be the best. They can make $1 million, whether it's TV, whether it's doing videos, whether it's fishing bass tournaments. I imagine there's got to be so much humility to finally knock on your door and say, listen, okay, I need some help. If I'm going to do this, I need some help.
And that's the tough part, is because there's a lot of egos out there, and it's really no place for an ego, because if you get one, the sponsors aren't going to like you either. So.
No. And you better have thick skin. I got reminded of that
real thick
from
skin.
a good friend the other day.
Give us an example.
Well, you go out and you're trying to relax, and sometimes people might pipe something off or even take a picture of you or something and make a smart-ass response about you. And you know what? You just got to learn to blow it off and let it go. And they can take things out of context and just try to bring you down. And You just got to have thick skin. You got to take the high road, and the best advice is kill them with kindness. So, Ted,
Exactly.
one last time. We got about 30 seconds, and then I'm going to wrap it up and bring us into break.
If you'd like to get a hold of me, ted-kaminsky.com. You can drop me a ring, 612-272-9267. I'd be glad to talk to you and help you out any way I can.
And you don't necessarily have to be a fisherman or
No. That's just kind of what I specialize in. Most of my clients aren't, actually. So
good for you.
All right, well, good stuff. Well, Ted Kaminsky, the financial coach to the Outdoor Hunting and Fishing Stars, was just on. And then we're going to come back with another great guest, Dr. Stephen Cook. He's from the Canada Research Chair, Fish Ecology. Holy buckets, that's a lot of words. And he's going to talk to us about how to release a fish on Ticket Outdoors.
And more than
the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, only on 105 The Ticket.
Joey Logano just screams out into the lead. McMurray's blocking the second. Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick side by side for third.
It's time for racing at the Tricky Triangle, Pocono Raceway, with the Exalta We Paint Winners 400. Tune in NASCAR Sprint Cup Sunday at 11 a.m.
That's the battle for the lead in turn one.
This is Brad Keselowski. This is Dillon Hart Jr. This is Jeff Gordon. This is Jimmy Johnson. This is Kevin Harvick.
Your home for NASCAR in the Twin Cities is Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
Load up the lumber at Mills Fleet Farm. ProWood treated lumber, preferred by contractors, is on sale. Rejuvenate and protect your driveway with Jet Coat Premium Driveway Filler and Sealer. $14.99 a bale. Get power and speed with the DeWalt 18-volt Bear cordless grease gun on sale. $118.99. The 3M Tech WorkTunes hearing protector is $29.99. And all Dickies denim is on sale at Mills Fleet Farm.
Boomer here from the Ticket Outdoors. Well, we made it through another long, cold winter in Minnesota. And guess what that means? It's time to hit the open water, baby. And I'm pumped to get back into the Alumacraft T-Pro 195 and get her wet. And I want to remind our listeners, now is a great time to check out the new lineup of Alumacraft boats. I love Alumacraft because they're made right here in Minnesota, and they're simply the best aluminum boat on the water. To learn more about Alumacraft and to find a dealer near you, go to alumacraft.com.
If you love the outdoors, then you probably have a truck that you love too. Custom Truck Accessories can help protect your truck from the rigors of outdoor activities. They have custom seat covers and floor mats to protect against the mud and dirt from the field. Toppers and tonneau covers to protect your gear. If you're a truck guy, you'll appreciate the knowledge and experience of the Custom Truck Accessories crew. Visit CustomTruckAccess.com or stop by their store to see what a difference being family-owned can make for you.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
Well, we keep on having fun even off the air. We just got done talking with Ted Kaminsky. Ted is with Mutual Omaha and helps a lot of fishing aspiration people to realize their dreams, and he's a financial advisor at Mutual Omaha, so check him out sometime. Next, we've got on Stephen Cook. He's an associate professor, I think, of Canada Research Chair, and we're going to be talking to John Nelson and somebody else later on. It just keeps on going on.
What?
Who's that? Was that you? Who was that, anyway?
It's not me.
Stephen Cook, are you there? Dr. Stephen Cook, are you there?
Hey, I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. I think was that your daughter we heard?
That's the 3-year-old boy.
You're a family man, huh?
He's on the phone. That's all right. Wife's running up to deal with that. I apologize.
No
problem. I have a 2-year-old. I know how it goes.
Yeah, Dr. Stephen Cook. That was Mark Lukey, our producer that spoke. I'm Steve Strusinski, the wild card of the Ticket Outdoors here. We spoke earlier this afternoon, and we also have Boomer Stelmack. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Hi. Is your daddy a doctor? Is your daddy a good disciplinarian? Dr. Stephen Cook, thanks for being on the air of the Ticket Outdoors. I'll tell you what, Dr. Stephen Cook has a ton of things in his background, more than I'll ever be able to talk about, but he's with Carleton University right now. I've been there for, I don't know, how many, 8, 9, 10 years? How long have you been with Carleton University in Manitoba?
About 10 years.
10 years. And what are your responsibilities up there?
I do the usual professor thing where I spend some of my time in the classroom teaching, but I'm fortunate in that I get to spend an awful lot of time outside doing research, and recreational fisheries and management end up being a big focus of our research program.
Good for you.
Hey, Dr. Cook, Boomer Stelmack, thanks for joining the show, man.
No problem.
So before we get into the real technicality stuff about fish and being a professor up there, talk to our listeners a little bit about how you got your love for the outdoors, because I'm guessing with all these acronyms behind you that involve the outdoors, you do it because you have a passion for it.
Absolutely, and for me, I actually find that science and fishing have a lot in common. So science is really about curiosities, learning, trying to understand things. And fishing in many ways is the same. When you go out fishing, you're trying to dissect a water body and learn from every fishing experience, the good ones and the bad ones, to become better at it. And water is mysterious. We as humans have a difficult time seeing through water. When we go into the water, we can only be there for limited periods of time. At best, we can throw on a scuba tank, but it's really difficult to understand fish, and so they're mysterious. So for me, the science and the research fit very nicely with my personal interest and passion for fishing.
You must be one hell of a fisherman if you have a biology background. I want to go with you. I mean, do you study a lake beforehand and kind of the patterns, and do you know right where to go?
Okay, so you would think so. I certainly, I spend a lot of time doing research, and some of one of the examples I like to use is we've got a lake where we've wired it up essentially. So we've got telemetry receivers spread throughout the lake, and we've got piles of largemouth bass in that lake, and they're tagged. And we can go to a computer screen in a little shed beside the lake, look at it, and know exactly where fish are within about a meter. We know where they are both in terms of in the water column and where they are on the map. So we can go out there and literally cast on top of the fish right at its nose, and we have days where we are skunked.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't matter how much technology one has or how much knowledge one has. Fish are really still, curious creatures, mysterious creatures, and I think that's why, again, it's fishing, not catching.
Hey, Doc, do you just do what I do and say a damn cold front came in a couple days before? Hey, let me ask the doctor that, because that's a line that you hear from guides, and I hear it all the time, doctor, that I remember I read the first In Fisherman article from the Linders that came out in the 70s. I think I was in Steve Bauman's office, who's in the Fishing Hall of Fame here, owner of Vexilar. He's just been a great mentor, and talked about some of the fundamentals. And one of the things is barometric pressure, right? That fish will often bite as the pressure starts to rise, so as the storm comes in. But once that storm has hit and the barometric pressure is above like 30 or something like that, they'll start to shut down, and then it takes a couple days to normalize. So now that we have an official doctor on the show, what is your opinion with cold fronts and how that impacts storms, the bite?
Yeah, there's not a lot of evidence to suggest that change in barometric pressure actually influence fish catchability.
Just lost 3 sponsors on that one, Doc.
Water temperature itself is a big deal, though, and fish are able to sense very minute differences in water temperature, and so a cold front, even a decrease of 2 or 3 degrees Fahrenheit, is a really big deal for a fish. An increase in water temperature, not as big of a deal. That'll, if anything, turn them on, as long as it's not at the very top end where it's becoming stressful. But a rapid decrease in water temperature will really shut them down. And there's really nothing they can do about it other than try and seek warmer water temperature, which may send them to different places than you've been fishing before. They may go down to slightly deeper, more stable temperatures to avoid those fluctuations near the water surface.
Well, one of the guys that I've read his books, and believe it or not, for our listeners, I actually made it through this entire book.
What?
You read?
A
page.
Larry Flint is a hell of an author.
I don't even know where to go right now, but I just about said Larry Flint. Dave Gens, okay, he's written some books, and he's really mastered. He's really broken a lot of barriers and pioneered the sport of ice fishing, not only here in Minnesota and the United States, but across the world. And Dave taught me about hitting the north end of the lake first because of the warmer water temps. So a lot of what you're saying was just kind of resonating when I actually read page of that book.
Yeah, it may be the north end, because you've got both the solar radiation, but you've also got wind and fetch and things like that. So it can vary from lake to lake as well. But and you really see it in the springtime. So we do a lot of work on bass and parental care, and spend a lot of time just cruising the shallows. And it's those we find the bass go up in those dark, shallow bays more quickly than they would go into a similar bay that had a different colored bottom, just that that dark bottom sucking up that solar radiation, spitting it back out, and the water warms more quickly, and the fish really quickly zone in on that. Watching what fish do during those early spring transitions is fascinating, where you go from having literally what appears to be no life near shore to all of a sudden a full fish community. That happens over 2 or 3 days, which is pretty cool.
I tell you what, Dr. Cook, I would get my kicks off that. Our partner in crime here, Stu, has gone on this moose collaring thing for a while. And you know how you'd like to do that, Stu? And this is where I would want to be. So you go right around on a snowmobile chasing moose that are going to die from wolves anyways, and then I'm going to go. And I want to go, Dr. Cook, we got to exchange some information because I want to learn more about catching those bass for some reasons. And then I want to learn about these pattern of fish with you. So I'm inviting myself, hopefully.
Sounds good.
Hey, is it
volunteer anglers?
Can I ask the good doctor a question now?
Okay, I'm done.
Doctor, you're doing talking about the water temperature and how it affects the activity of the fish. I think you're doing some research right now on light, as how it's affecting bass as well. What kind of research are you doing there?
Yeah, we're interested in how fish activity
artificial light, right, for the most part.
Yeah, how fish activity changes over 24-hour periods and then seasonally, looking to see whether or not things like lunar patterns influence fish activity. We haven't seen much going on there. A lot of people put a reasonable amount of faith in lunar tables. I think it's probably more meaningful in marine fisheries where tides are intimately linked to lunar cycles, lunar phases, but in freshwater doesn't seem to be as big of a deal.
Doc, there's a lot of places that you can go on the internet, or it's the old fishing almanac, and it tells you there's certain days that the fish are supposed to bite. And I mean, you guys come on, we've all been there. We've all looked at it and said, holy cow, we're going to crush them,
There's
right?
A half filled in fish.
Yeah,
the fishing will be okay in 2 years from now.
And then it would have like the little squiggly curve that says the bite's going to be good. You know what I'm talking about? That bite's going to be good from about 6:30 to 7:15. Ain't going to be worth a crap the rest of the day. We got to get on the water, right? All right, Doc, help us with that. Is there any truth in that stuff?
No, it doesn't appear to be. We looked at that.
Some fishing magazines just went under.
We see a little bit of evidence that near the new moon and the full moon, the bass tend to be a little bit shallower, but we're talking about centimeters or inches, not 3 or 4 feet shallower. So a shallower fish is theoretically more accessible, but does 3 or 4 inches really mean anything? And we can access those fish very easily, whether they're at 4 feet of depth or 5 feet of depth as anglers. So it doesn't seem to be a big deal.
Your turn, Stu.
My turn. Hey, Doc, how did you, when you're growing up, you're a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid, I mean, how early did you know that you wanted to do something like this? Obviously, you love the outdoors, but how did it transfer from maybe hunting and fishing as a little kid to where you are today?
Yeah. Well, it started off with a tackle box that I inherited from a grandparent that passed away when I was, I guess, 7 years old. Mm-hmm. My dad was an accountant, not necessarily the most outdoorsy, and just started dorking around in local ponds, catching fish, learning, starting to think about what I wanted to do when I grew up. Watching TV personalities in Canada, Bob Izumi was a big influence, and then somewhere along the line you realize that that's a big commitment, and you spend an awful lot of time standing at sportsman shows and dealing with marketing, and I thought I could maybe even get more time on the water if I became a biologist, and ended up going the research angle, which has sort of the ultimate freedom in terms of what one studies and where one works. So that's where I ended up.
Good for you.
Doctor, we got a minute, so I want to ask you a quick question, then I'm going to bring us home in a break, and we're going to bring you back in about the catch and release piece. But we had Ted Kaminsky on here, not the Unabomber, to talk about financial freedom for the hunting and fishing world. And we talked about, less than 1% of folks actually find that financial freedom. I can imagine it's fairly competitive wanting to be a professor in the outdoor industry as well.
Yeah, definitely. But the upshot is there's tons of young people that are interested in the outdoors. Some are interested in it purely from a conservation side of thing. Others are interested in it because they hunt and they fish, or they camp and they're interested more in the natural resource management side of things. But what I'm continually impressed with is the fact that lots of people want to do this. Lots of young people want to learn, and it's not just so they can become better anglers. They want to make a difference. And it's competitive, but it's also a blast. And we get to work outside, and in rain and snow and sleet, yes, but it's outside, and I'll take that over an office any day.
I'll tell you what, we only have about 30 seconds or so before Boomer cuts out and goes to a commercial, I'm going to sneak out of here and go look up the word solunar. What does that mean?
It's this idea that combines both solar and lunar activity, and thinking about what influences fish patterns. So a lot of those tables you look up in magazines, they call them solunar tables.
You learn a lot on the Ticket Outdoors. Go ahead, Boom.
Drew, you make me so solunar.
I bet you do.
All right, we're going to come back with Dr. Stephen Cook, and we're going to learn about catch and release. And apparently my dad's been teaching me the wrong thing for the last 37 years on Ticket Outdoors.
Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
Hey, you've reached Tom Bodette. I can't come to the phone because I'm getting some R&R. Yep, after almost 30 years of talking about Motel 6 being the lowest price of any national chain, I'm experiencing it. I booked my little road trip through the new improved Motel6.com. I'm starting at the Grand Canyon, then hitting the Arches, maybe the world's largest ball of duct tape. Bucket list, baby. And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that light on at Motel 6. Talk to you when I get home.
You save big money, you save big money when you shop Menards.
At Menards, you get the lowest prices every day, plus sales too. Now during the Menards Big Sale, save big on all of your summer project needs. Whether you're looking for yard cleanup supplies, insulation, storm doors, or decor, Menards has everything you need for your home. Add style and security to your house with Quickset lock sets. The Tylo polished brass passage knob features an adjustable latch and back set, so it fits all standard doors. It's perfect for hallway or closet doors. The Quickset Tylo is available now for just $6.99. Find this and many more great deals now during the Menards Big Sale. And while you're shopping, register for your chance to win a Jeep Wrangler. Saving you big money on all of your home improvement needs. Menards.
Save big money at Menards. When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
One of the tough lessons we learn as parents is that we can't protect our children from everything. We can, however, prepare them as best as possible for what may happen. We can teach them the best ways to handle the difficult times, and difficult times will come. This is similar to what we do at Bradshaw and Bryant. We can't save you from the car collision, but we can prepare you for what to expect if you're in a collision and what your action should be afterwards. And we can help right the wrong. If you're injured, it's someone else's fault to seek justice if needed and make the best of that bad situation. And we receive no recovery until you are compensated. So there's no risk to you at all. The only risk is if you don't call. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant. I hope you're never injured in an accident. But if you are, don't sign anything until you've talked to us.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
From the Mills Fleet Farm Studios, WGDX Lakeville, WRXP Cambridge, WGVZ Eden Prairie, a Cumulus station.
Citizens supporting our armed forces sends care packages to deployed soldiers overseas. 100% of the money raised buys the items they ship. The 7th annual Red Bull Military Appreciation Day is Sunday, June 7th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. in North Branch Central Park, featuring activities for kids, a car show, and historical military equipment. Admission is free. Their motto is, together we can bring a little home to our deployed troops. And with your help, they can do just that. Go to CSOAF.com.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
That's right. This is the Ticket Outdoors 105 on Wednesday night, 7 to 9. Again, rebroadcast Sunday morning, 6 to 8. And you can podcast almost probably tomorrow, Friday at the latest. My buddy Mark Lukey over there will have us on podcast Friday morning. So you're going to learn all the stuff we're listening to with Dr. Stephen Cook, because you're going to want to hear this stuff again, because he's a lot smarter than we are. We need to listen 3 or 4 times. Go ahead, Boomer.
And let's thank our sponsors. Let's take a quick minute. Dan Southside Marine, the great folks down there in Bloomington that have supported our show now, been a headline sponsor. Mills Fleet Farm. So if you're still looking to pick up some bobbers or rods and reels, don't just swing on into the Big Orange. Lumacraft, the great folks down in St. Peter. I am so pumped to do that catalog shoot and be blessed to do that this next week. And Lakes Trading Company, if you're looking to buy a gun or sight something in, go visit those folks in Forest Lake. And then Custom Truck Accessories. If you need to pimp out the truck or black out the windshields, go see him at Custom Truck Accessories.
We're talking with Dr. Stephen Cook of Manitoba, and I'll tell you what, I respect anybody, Dr. Cook, who has a PhD. You might have 2 or 3, I have no idea, because I've got 2 degrees from Hamline University, and I can teach you how not to say ain't and do push-ups. I've got a degree in English and physical education, so you're a lot smarter man than I'll ever be, and I appreciate the fact that you're on the air. I'll tell you what, Dr. Stephen Cook is with Carleton University in Manitoba. Here's a little bit about his background. He was at University of Waterloo in 97, same thing in 99, University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana in 2002, University of British Columbia in 2002-2005, Carleton University to now, and he's the Associate Professor and Canada Research Chair. What does that mean, Canada Research Chair?
Yeah, so within Canada, there are a number of us that have been sort of bestowed with those titles. It allows us to spend a lot more time on research, so it buys us out of a little bit of the teaching and gives us a bit more flex money so that we can focus on research activity. And for my Canada Research Chair, it's all about recreational fisheries.
You have the best of both worlds. God's been good to you, but you deserve it. You worked your butt off to get to where you are, but obviously you're doing exactly what you want to do. You inspire people. You get a chance to be outside and do all the research you're talking about. I read a huge story about you. As a matter of fact, you were just in February 2015. Dr. Stephen Cook was awarded the prestigious Natural Sciences and Engineering Council of Canada. Is it called the Stacey Fellowship? There's a Stacey Fellowship. Congratulations on that, whatever the hell it is, but just to tell us what it is.
Each year they give away 6 of them across all of Canada.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, promising scientists and engineers and in all fields. So yeah, it's again more opportunity, more funds to continue with research over the next few years.
You know, and the same person wrote this story. I find it very interesting because it says you started your life doing what you're doing. It started with a lifelong interest in everything slimy and aquatic. Is that pretty much true?
That is true. Yeah, I was the one that was digging in the ponds and coming home wet and muddy every day. My mother's chagrin. Yeah. A
couple of things that are happening recently, as a matter of fact. Our producer Mark Lukey over there, who you've heard him speak a couple of times already tonight, brought up the fact that in Kentucky, you know, there's bass fishing tournaments all over this country, probably all over the world, and it's huge. It is just a huge industry. Recently, maybe just a couple of days ago last week, there was a big one down in Kentucky, and it finished on Sunday. Monday afternoon and Tuesday, there were like 300-400 nice-sized bass that floated up dead on shore. I don't know if you heard about that. Mark, Mark, you read the article more than I did. What do they say the reasons for that is, and what has to be done?
Dr. Cook, are you familiar with that story at all?
Not that one specifically, but it happens, and I'm going to guess it's a mix of water temperature and disease.
I think they were trying to say from the tournament, it was really choppy, and there was quite a long ride in the boats, so I think that disoriented a lot of fish, and it was just kind of like a perfect storm. But overall, what's your opinion on some of these tournaments? Do you think they kill off a lot of fish, or do you think they don't really harm the ecosystem of the lakes?
Yeah, it really depends on how they're run, and there's sort of the organization side of things, but it's really the individual angler and how they operate their live well. Mm-hmm. We know a fair amount from various studies now that the absolute best thing you can do is just give those fish lots of fresh lake water, the exact water that they came from. Mm-hmm. The challenge is, say you're fishing a lake where there's both smallies and largies, maybe in the morning you fish for smallmouths and nice deep cold water, and then you spend the afternoon in a back shallow bay where the water temperature is 15 degrees warmer. Those smallmouth are all of a sudden experiencing a big temperature sweep, water quality that's a little bit different. You don't see smallmouth back in those shallow back bays. That's an example. We know it's, barring those kinds of things where where anglers are fishing in different habitat types, it's just about running your live well, flushing it continuously, not adding things like ice and salt, not going crazy with the oxygen. For a while, a lot of folks were bubbling oxygen and thinking a little is good, and so we'll make it a rolling boil, and a lot must be even better.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. Supersaturation kills fish too. So lots of ambient water.
We have a bunch of topics. One other question about these tournaments is a lot of times, 1,000 fish will be released in one area of the lake. Do you think those fish can adequately spread out, or do you think that really affects certain parts of the lake?
Yeah, there have been a fair number of studies on that issue on 3 species, walleye, smallmouth, and largemouth. Largemouth tend to hang out, be homebodies, until there's sort of a seasonal transition. Mm-hmm. They'll hang out locally until, winter comes, and then they'll redistribute themselves. Smallmouth tend to go back rather quickly. Walleye, more of a mixed bag. So certainly if you're, fishing in a largemouth lake and you know where they drop the fish off, that's probably a good place to go.
Where to hang out? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, hey, Doc, talking about fish being resilient and the smallmouth and deeper, colder water, and then the bass were in the shallows, warmer water. Is there any fish that, as you go through your studies, that you feel are more resilient? I mean, I naturally think of that northern pike, right? I mean, they're a pretty resilient fish from when you get the hook out of them to when they bite it and they just go flying back in the water. But is there any science that any type of freshwater species is more resilient than another?
Yeah, absolutely. We know that there's some fish that are very sensitive to everything from hooking injury to handling stress to air exposure, and usually mediated by, worse at warmer water temperatures. So things like brook trout are an example of a more sensitive species. Things that are more robust, pike, certainly one of them. We've done a number of studies on pike, including ones where we've done pretty nasty things to them, pretty long air exposure, letting them go with lures in their mouth, and we see very little mortality. And I'm not implying that we should therefore just, kick
right.
pike overboard when we get them, but it just emphasizes that there's some fish that you really need to handle quite delicately, and others where it's not as big of an issue.
All right, question for you on the holding fish. So, do you have any thoughts about, we call it the hero shot in the fishing industry, where we hold the fish from behind the gill or the upper gill, and we kind of turn the mouth a little bit, and we've seen it for largemouth, right, Mark? Mm-hmm. We talked about that.
The jaw crank thing?
The jaw crank. Walleyes, I've been guilty of it. What kind of pressure does that put on the fish?
Yeah, presumably a fair amount. However, there's no science on it. There's actually some folks at the University of Florida that have a crowdfunding campaign underway right now to try and get a bit of money to explore that issue. The bigger issue probably is the air exposure. And so whenever I see a TV personality with a fish, or, a photo in a magazine or just in somebody's photo album, what I like to see is, water streaming off that fish, water dripping off the fish. And you see that whenever a fish has been held in water and then removed from the water for that shot and put back in, you see the water just streaming off it. And so, if you're seeing a lot of water streaming off your fish in your photos, you're doing a pretty good job of making sure that fish is wet and only removed from the water for a couple seconds at a time.
Hey, Doc, a lot of people who ever wanted to be they said they love the game of golf and they want to be a professional golfer. Well, if you love the game of golf and you become a professional golfer, you never golf because you're always teaching and doing things like that. Is that the same thing you're going through right now? You love the outdoors. Do you get a chance to fish anymore?
Yeah, I definitely do. I spend a lot of time dealing with administrative nonsense, but I'm still fortunate that I get to get out in the water. We need to catch the fish, to whether it be a blood sample or use them in experiments. And part of my job is to actually teach some of my team to fish. Not everybody that walks into my lab is an angler to start with, but when they leave, I don't think I've had a student leave my lab that hasn't become addicted to the sport.
And what is your favorite fish to chase?
Boy, I definitely like fishing largemouth, sort of uptight in the slop, but I also love sort of exploring the world. There's some amazing places, some amazing beasts. I was fortunate last year to do some work on Mazir in India. We do a fair amount of work on bonefish in the Bahamas. So it's definitely love fishing for largemouth, but love traveling the world, learning about other species.
You're talking about chasing the big species. Last week we had on the air, and I'll say this quickly because Boomer has a couple of things to talk about. We had a young man who was fishing with a 10-pound test line, Mississippi River, caught a 100-pound sturgeon, and it took him about a mile downstream. And that's a hell of a story. That was a lot of fun. Boomer, go ahead. You had a question.
Hey, Doc, thanks for sticking with us. We originally had you scheduled for about 30 minutes. We're going to push through this break a little bit. You mind sticking with us for another 5-10 minutes so we can
Not a problem.
have you on about the article that we teased our audience with? So let me tease you into that. So, Doc, I've been fishing here for a few years, and I learned from my dad. My first boat I actually fished out of was like a 1950s Alumacraft Ducker, which was a duck boat with a modified 1.5 Johnson. And my dad used to tell me, when you'd get these big fish, Boomer, just kind of when you get them back in the water, you grab it by the tail with your left hand and you just kind of push it down and move it back and forth. And I'm sure I wasn't very graceful with it. And that's always kind of stuck with me as a way to try to revitalize the fish. In fact, that 42-inch pike that I was blessed to get in Devil's Lake, we got it. We got our pictures. That's exactly what we did to get that thing back in the water. Now, I read your article in Outdoor News, or maybe it's not your article, but someone saw one of your seminars,
right.
And you have some different opinions on that. And so we'd love to kind of get your thoughts on that.
Sounds good. You want those now or after the break?
We're going to keep going, and then we'll get to break, and then we'll just cut the breaks a little short. So.
Excellent. So you see it all the time. It's certainly in TV. Certainly when you're in the water, you see other people doing it. But the reality is, how often do you see a fish swim backwards? Fish swim. They either sit still in the water or they're swimming in one direction. And when that's happening, water is moving in through the mouth and out through the opercular chambers. And in doing so, water is moving over the gills in one direction. And so the gill anatomy is such that it's sort of a counter-current circulation system. And so it's intended to optimize extraction of oxygen. And it does that by having the water flow from front to back. And so when we take that fish and start moving it backwards, we're actually messing with the anatomy of the fish and its physiology that's been optimized to remove oxygen, moving them in one direction. So there are a couple things one can do. So if it's not a toothy fish or super long, you can do the good old figure eight, where you take them and put them in a figure eight motion. If it's a larger fish or a toothy critter, you can kind of, if you're in a river, you can point them into the flow with their head facing upstream. Or if you're fishing from a boat and you've got a muskie and it's pretty pooped, what you can do is just hold it alongside the boat, throw your trolling motor on, the lowest or second lowest speed, and just cruise ahead just really slowly and nurse the fish back that way.
Go ahead, Boom. Take us to break, buddy.
Well, no, let me ask one more thing before we let the doctor go. His article, which I did read, talked about different types of hooks and mortality rates. Give our listeners your opinions on the hooks and mortality rates and what your thoughts are as far as a hook that would be an effective hookup ratio, but also give our fish the best chance to survive after you bring them in the boat.
Right. So the one thing we do know across the 300 or so studies that have been done on catch and release is the single biggest thing that influences whether a fish will survive or not is hooking location. So anything, and with bad locations being in the throat or gullet area, and good locations being in the jaw or lip region. And so anything an angler can do to facilitate shallow hooking and reduce incidences of deep hooking is useful. And so we know things like lures tend to catch fish more shallowly than live bait. Bigger baits tend to be more shallow than smaller baits, things like that. But if you can't get around those issues, hook type can be useful. Barbless doesn't do anything other than allow you to get the fish off the hook quicker. Barbless hooks in and of themselves do not reduce mortality rates. But circle hooks, which some people use in the Midwest for things like catfish,
sturgeon,
bluegill or pumpkin seed. They're really popular in marine fisheries for billfish and tuna. They work really well when you're using organic bait for fish that normally would ingest the hook quite deeply. But if you're fishing for largemouth with soft plastics or, walleye with jigs, just any standard J hook's fine. It's really when you're using live bait. And if you're seeing a lot of deep hooking, that's when it makes sense to try and get your hands on some circle hooks. They're still kind of hard to find in freshwater tackle shops, but I'm seeing more and more of them on the shelves.
Hey, Doc, we're gonna get to John Nelson, president of the Minnesota State High School Clay Target League, after break, but we want to keep you on for about 2 or 3 minutes after commercial. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
We'll be right back on the Ticket Outdoors.
The Saturday night game of the week, St. Paul Saints baseball on Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
Charging hard, he leaves his feet and dives to make the catch.
Our broadcast start with Live from Lower Town with Ben Holson and Sean Aronson. We talk Saints, baseball, and more starting at 5 p.m. Then the Saints pregame show starts at 6:45 p.m., followed by play-by-play from Sean.
Drilled high, deep left field, well hit, way back, goodbye!
Every Saturday Saints home game on Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
This isn't one of those silly, overdone commercials that makes you change stations. Nope, this is a good old-fashioned nuts and bolts commercial. Really, it's about nuts, bolts, and hardware. It's about you and Mills Fleet Farm. If you make a living fixing things and building things, you use plenty of hardware. When it comes to hardware, you need great quality, selection, and price. You need Mills Fleet Farm.
If you love the outdoors, then you probably have a truck that you love too. Custom Truck Accessories can help protect your truck from the rigors of outdoor activities. They have custom seat covers and floor mats to protect against the mud and dirt from the field. Toppers and tonneau covers to protect your gear. If you're a truck guy, you'll appreciate the knowledge and experience of the Custom Truck Accessories crew. Visit CustomTruckAccess.com or stop by their store to see what a difference being family owned can make for you.
Smokes! That's the 4th straight kill shot.
I've been getting in some practice.
Is that a new rifle, too?
Yep, traded for it. Make that 5.
Lakes Trading Company. Buy, sell, trade, and receive expert firearms training. Permit to carry classes are also available at the indoor range. LakesTradingCo.com.
Hi, it's Tom with Dan Chesky from Dan's Southside Marine, introducing Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale. The damn thing takes place now, goes through Father's Day, which should take away all of your excuses for not showing up. The perfect time for Dan's Damn Boat Sale at Dan's Southside Marine.
Get great savings on Premier, Alumacraft, and Berkshire boats coming right out of my pocket. Any damn boat you see on the website's for sale, so shop online for any damn boat you want, or come down to the store at 98th and Logan in Bloomington and see them in person. Pretty damn easy, huh?
It's Dan Chesky's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington.
Our dealer incentives and factory rebates will save you a lot, and I will pitch in a few goodies too. So visit our damn website and check out the damn savings.
Everybody's talking about it. Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now through Father's Day at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington, or you can shop online at dansouthsidemarine.com.
Steve Straczynski here of Coldwell Banker Burnett. It's time, my friend. If you're a Ticket Outdoors fan, then you're also a fan of hunting and fishing. I've got 29 years in real estate licensed in both Minnesota and Wisconsin, and I'll consider it a privilege to help you find that perfect lake home or the 40-acre piece of heaven that's hiding a Boone and Crockett right now. Hey, check me out on Facebook or email stru@stru.com. It's your money. Thanks. And thanks for having fun with us on the Ticket Outdoors.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
Oh, there we are, young man. I can't believe we're getting paid for having so much fun. We're listening to, we're talking with Dr. Stephen Cook, and Dr. Stephen Cook is a big shot up in Manitoba. Hey, how far are you from the Twin Cities, Doc?
I'm actually in Ottawa, Ontario, so I'm a good 12, 14 hours.
Oh, as much as I think you're a cool guy, I don't know if I want to drive that far, but
maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, Dr. Stephen Cook is Canada Research Chair in Fish Ecology and Conservation Physiology, all these big names because he's a smart guy, loves the outdoors, and does a lot of research. Down here in the Twin Cities, and it's happening other places as well, there was something just came up again yesterday, the day before. There's something called... It's not politically correct, the Asian carp. I don't know if you've heard about it or what's going on, but the Asian carp, they found 5 Asian carp in the Mississippi, the St. Croix River, very close.
Big mouth carp.
Whatever they call it, I don't know, but very close to the Twin Cities. And apparently they are going to destroy the entire ecology. What do you know about the Asian carp, and what do we do?
Yeah, they're definitely something that we don't want here. They're firmly planted in the lower and mid Mississippi, and they're moving north. There's certainly fears that they'll enter the Great Lakes themselves as well. There's a lot of creativity that scientists are bringing to the table to try and prevent them. There's people that are studying acoustic cannons. They have electric fences, underwater fences essentially they're using to keep the fish out. They're working on developing feeds that would kill the Asian carp, yet not kill any of the other fish that we care about, the native fish. From an angler perspective, the biggie is making sure that we don't move them around ourselves. So bait bucket transfers can be a bit of a problem, but we as humans have done a nice job connecting water bodies that weren't previously connected. It's a tough battle.
I tell you what, Doc, I think it's a kind of a catch-22 because I don't know how many billions of dollars Minnesota, was it $3 or $4 billion Minnesota from
Fishing,
the DNR?
Yeah, when I was at that Explore Minnesota tourism, I think Alyssa told me it was about $5 billion industry is what tourism and
every
fishing
year
is
in the state of Minnesota. Yep. And it's going to cost an awful lot of money to try to figure this problem out, and it may never happen. So it's someone's got a tough job ahead of them. By the way, Doc, Ted Kaminsky is here. Ted is sitting and listening. He was one of our earlier guests. He's got a question for you.
Hey, Doc, thanks for being on. I mean, this is very interesting hearing you talk. But you were talking about the hook, the circle hooks and things like that earlier. And I got one question. I mean, I've fished a lot and I've done a lot of tournament fishing, that kind of thing. I've always, if a fish is hooked deep, I mean, I fish a lot of walleyes, I cut it. I cut the line and just let the fish go. How is that? How is that really, is that hard on a fish? Is that good? Is that the best thing you can do? Tell me about that.
You're doing the right thing. So obviously preventing fish from getting deep hooked in the first place is sort of, if you can avoid that, that's best, but it happens. It happens to me. Cutting the line, definitely the best thing to do. We know that from a bunch of species now across the board. It's much better than trying to fish things out. Right in that throat gullet area, it's, on the lower side of the fish is the heart, the liver is just behind that. It's really easy to do a fair amount of damage in trying to wrestle that hook out, whereas if you leave it in place, even if it's hit some vital organs, oftentimes there's clotting that happens, a little bit of healing, and eventually they're able to expel the hooks. Obviously, the fancier hooks we use, it takes a little bit longer, but the good old bronze, the cheapies rust out the quickest, but the fish are pretty remarkable at being able to expel them. We see mortality rates that are about half that. If you can basically reduce mortality by half simply by cutting the line, as opposed to trying to get it out.
Well, I tell you what, Doctor, we had some excitement with this interview. We were kind of joking around about how we were going to talk about catching and releasing fish, and we kind of went off on a shotgun of subjects, but we really appreciate you being on the Ticket Outdoors. And I'm serious, I'm going to get my butt up there, even though I know you're 12, 14 hours away, and I'm going to just ask you to show me where the biggest bass is in that lake, and we're going to go wacky worm their ass. So,
sounds good.
Dr. Stephen Cook, who is the Canada Research Chair in Fish Ecology and Conservation. Thanks for joining us on Ticket Outdoors, my friend.
No problem. Thanks for having the 5-year-old.
You bet. Take care, sir.
All right. So we are going to call in. We're going to get Mr. John Nelson on the line here. It's true. Is this one of your boys that you brought in the show?
John Nelson is one of the boys. Well, we've met him. At least Mark and I met him, I believe it was, at the
Game Fair?
Yeah, the Game Fair. But he's the big shot. John helped start the trap shooting and the clay shooting league in Minnesota State. I think Minnesota is still the only state that has a high school league, and they went from like 200 to 250 participants a couple of years back. Now there's 4,000 or 5,000.
Wow!
And the biggest problem they're having is finding places for people to shoot. It is huge. It's really, really exciting. It's,
well, I'm pumped to have him on. So let's circle back. Let's see. So we've had two really awesome guests on, right? We had Ted Kaminsky, not the Unabomber, on our show at the beginning to talk about hunting and fishing.
Actually, the other guy's name is Kaczynski, I think.
Is it Kaczynski?
Yeah, that's okay.
And it looks like, it looks like producer Mark is giving me the thumbs up. John Nelson, welcome to the Ticket Outdoors.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having us.
Hey, thanks for joining us. This is Boomer here, and shortly the man in charge here, Stu, is going to jump in. But looks like you're the president of the Minnesota State High School Clay Target League, huh?
Well, I try to play president, but most of the time I'm vice president. But certainly involved in every day-to-day operations.
Hey, John, this is Steve Strusinski. We've spoken a couple of times, and thanks again for being on. I tell you what, I never get tired of this because, it's so exciting. And thanks for keeping me in the loop when you email me. It's fun to be part of this in a small way. But the news release this time is 5,620 Minnesota student athletes are going to compete in the world's largest shooting sporting event. This is amazing, considering where you started just a couple of years ago.
Boy, that is the truth. Just 5 years ago, we had about 300 kids in our state tournament, and as you mentioned, more than 5,600 kids are going to be in this year's tournament up in Alexandria on June 11th through the 16th. So we've had to expand our tournament to 6 days in order to accommodate the kids. And then this is also then just a portion of the amount of kids that we had in the league this year. We had a total of over 8,600 student athletes in our spring league this year for the Clay Target League.
And I'm going to go out on a limb. For all those anti-gun freaks out there, I'm guessing out of the 5,620 Minnesota student athletes who are going to be shooting this year, there has not been one injury.
There has not been an injury.
There you go.
And that's the amazing part.
There you go.
We continue to promote the safest sport in high school involves firearms, and that's been a terrific thing. So it's amazing that we can have over 5,600 kids at this tournament, and we typically, the biggest complaint is maybe somebody's wearing flip-flops. So right away.
Pink ones.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I loved that. Hey, John Boomer here. I used to shoot in a league up on Monday nights at Metro Gun Club. I loved shooting in flip-flops, man. Grilling a couple burgers, relaxing in shorts. But, John, I've heard a lot about this trap shooting league for the state high school with all the shows. I've been at Game Fair now here for last 3 or 4 years, and you guys have had a booth, and there seems to be more and more ambiance around that booth and more interest. Give our listeners a little more in case I missed it or they missed it. When did this start, and what the growth has looked like over those years?
Well, we really started back in 2001 with just a handful of kids and a small team, but we really got incorporated and started going in 2008, and that's when we had 3 teams and 30 kids. And, boy, we really thought we were going somewhere when we doubled that number the next year. So, since that time in 2008, we've gone from 3 teams to over 260 teams. We shoot more than 6 million rounds a year.
Man, oh man.
With these kids. The state tournament participation, as mentioned, has gone from up to 5,600 kids when our first tournament was just 5 kids. So we continue to talk about the fastest growing sport in Minnesota, and certainly shooting sports is there.
Obviously, sometimes, John, growth is a blessing, but it's also going to be a pain in the backside because how do you coordinate everything as you grow so quickly? How many volunteers have you got to keep this thing going and running as smoothly as you do?
Well, this year we have over 2,400 volunteer coaches that are helping out with teams. And so, in a season or even a league, where typical high school sports is they're telling parents, hey, parents, you need to, stay away from the kids and let the coaches do the coaching of the kids. We say bring them in because there's nothing like adult mentors, for these kids. And when your priorities are safety, fun, and marksmanship in that order, we want to make sure that everyone's safe.
So, John, walk me through here a little bit. I sign up and I'm on the Clay Trap Shooting League. When's the season and what's my weekly schedule look like? What's my regimen?
Well, we have 2 seasons. We have a spring season, which is our main season that just came to an end. So that goes for 9 weeks, starting the first week in April.
Okay.
And that's basically a couple practice weeks and 5 competition weeks, followed by kind of a fun week where, the teams have barbecues and invite school officials out to the shooting facility. And then that's followed up with our trap shooting championship, which is up in Alexandria. Then, in a couple weeks, we follow that up with the Minnesota State High School League's state tournament. So those are for qualifying individuals, which is the top 100 kids in the state based on their season average. And then we qualify 31 teams at the championship next week. to qualify in this state tournament. And the Minnesota State High School League is the first and the only state high school athletic association in the country to recognize trap shooting as a tournament.
You know, this is absolutely amazing. As a matter of fact, you mentioned a couple of the tournaments. The 2015 Trap Shooting Championship will be June 11th through the 16th at the Alexandria Shooting Park in Alexandria, Minnesota. And then from there, 31 teams qualify for the Trap Shooting Championship, and that'll be June 20th this year, obviously. And that's going to be at the Minneapolis Gun Club in Prior Lake. Can anyone go watch this stuff happen? I think it'd be a great experience just to watch it.
Absolutely. We, anyone who wants to attend is, there's free admission and there's always plenty of space. Up in Alexandria, we expect more than 20,000 people to visit the Alexandria Shooting Park up there over these 6 days. There's about 45 vendors up there, so when we're kind of like a mini game fair like atmosphere now with a bunch of people that have joined us. So, boy, I bet
I could sell some chew up there, couldn't I?
Oh, jeez.
Go ahead, Boomer.
You know, you talk about the spring season. It's 9 weeks and 4 weeks of practice and then 5 weeks of competition, then a week break in there where they got to rub elbows with school officials. Walk me through what the 5 weeks of competition is like. So is it this high school versus this high school? Is it overall score? Explain to our listeners how they compete.
What we do is we conduct a virtual competition is what we call it. And that's basically is you shoot at your local gun club and then you compete against teams of similar size. So we have teams that range from our smallest team is 5 kids. Our largest team is 108. So we actually have conferences that are based on those team sizes, and then these teams compete, shoot at their club, post their scores online, and then everything goes live on Saturday night. What's really neat about our program is we just don't focus on the top handful of shooters. We use a tree team scoring method, which is kind of similar to track and swimming, where about 80% of a team is used for scoring. So it doesn't matter what your abilities are, and that's the beauty of this sport is whether you're co-ed or adaptive sport. We're the only adaptive and co-ed sport in high school where kids in wheelchairs compete right alongside, football players and soccer players. And that's the best part about the sport. And so once the scores get posted is then standings and rankings appear, and then kids can actually watch their rankings amongst all the kids in the state based on what we call the shooter performance tracker. So they can see from their phone how they rank.
That's amazing.
600 kids.
Hey, Boomer, go ahead.
Yeah, one question to that, John. So I'm thinking of, when you show up to a different trap like Metro Gun Club, I mean, there's all kinds of different things you can do, like Duck Tower, which used to always humble me, or, sporting clays or just normal trap. What do these kids shoot? Which stations?
Well, they shoot trap, is our primary league. But last fall, and what we started this spring also, is we also started our skeet shooting league. And so this spring, we had more than 25 teams and over 250 kids participate in our first skeet league. So even just launching that into another shooting sport, it's already gaining popularity. Now, if we could get more skeet fields built throughout Minnesota, that would certainly help the situation. And that's the beauty of the sport is our Minnesota legislation has recognized that we have reached a lot of capacities at shooting facilities. If you're up at Metro Gun Club, you can see how busy that club is, on a nightly basis filled up with kids. And so the DNR, through the last couple of years, have released over $2 million in cost share grants to help improve facilities to help them grow and increase their capacity for these kids.
I'll tell you what, hey, we're talking to John Nelson, president of the Minnesota State High School Clay Target League. And I'll tell you what, we're going to be talking to a couple of young ladies here soon, Liz Thane and Elaine Franta, John, who will probably be joining one of these leagues soon. They got their first turkey this year. We'll be talking to them next. If you guys want to contact John Nelson, 612-490-1388. 612-490-1388. Go to J Nelson, O-N, at mnclaytarget.com. John, thanks for all you do, and thanks for listening to The Ticket Outdoors.
From pro to college to high school, we've got it all covered.
I'm starting to wonder if A-Rod and Lance Armstrong share the same brain. Somehow they'll always find a way to be the victim.
Passionate sports talk on your sports station, 105 The Ticket.
Boomer here from the Ticket Outdoors. Well, we made it through another long, cold winter in Minnesota. And guess what that means? It's time to hit the open water, baby. And I'm pumped to get back into the Alumacraft T-Pro 195 and get her wet. And I want to remind our listeners, now is a great time to check out the new lineup of Alumacraft boats. I love Alumacraft because they're made right here in Minnesota, and they're simply the best aluminum boat on the water. To learn more about Alumacraft and to find a dealer near you, go to alumacraft.com.
Hi, it's Tom with Dan Chesky from Dan's Southside Marine, introducing Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale. The damn thing takes place now, goes through Father's Day, which should take away all of your excuses for not showing up. The perfect time for Dan's Damn Boat Sale at Dan's Southside Marine.
Get great savings on Premier Alumacraft and Berkshire boats coming right out of my pocket. Any damn boat you see on the website's for sale, so shop online for any damn boat you want, or come down to the store at 98th and Logan in Bloomington and see him in person. Pretty damn easy, huh?
It's Dan Chesky's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington.
Our dealer incentives and factory rebates will save you a lot, and I will pitch in a few goodies too. So visit our damn website and check out the damn savings.
Everybody's talking about it. Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now through Father's Day at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington, or you can shop online at dansouthsidemarine.com.
Load up the lumber at Mills Fleet Farm. Crowwood treated lumber, preferred by contractors, is on sale. Rejuvenate and protect your driveway with Jet Coat Premium Driveway Filler and Sealer. $14.99 a bale. Get power and speed with the DeWalt 18-volt Bear cordless grease gun on sale. $118.99. The 3M Tech WorkTunes hearing protector is $29.99. And all Dickies denim is on sale at Mills Fleet Farm.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
All right, back to the Ticket Outdoors. Oh, sorry, Boomer. Sorry. Boomer did a 360 when I got too close to the microphone, apparently. Ticket Outdoors 105. Boomer's on my left. I'm Steve Strusinski, Wild Card. We got Ted Kaminsky here, one of our guests. Dave's our producer. Our engineer guy. And Mark Lukey, our producer. Hey, we've got some young ladies on right now. This is going to be a lot of fun.
All right.
Lizzie, am I correct? Lizzie Thame. And hang on, Elaine Franta, right? Are you girls on the air right now?
Yeah.
Are you on the phone?
Oh, listen to these girls. This is going to be awesome.
How many friends of yours have you told that you're going to be on the air tonight?
A couple.
A couple. We can't make $1 million if you don't spread the word for us, young lady. Hey, congratulations to you guys on getting your first turkey.
You two girls.
Yeah, you two girls. You're 14 and 15 years old, and I'll tell you what. I want you to guess. Now, I've been hunting my entire life, and I'm 64 years old. Guess how many turkeys I've shot in my entire life?
5?
0. You've shot more turkeys than I have, my friend. But anyway, thanks for being on the air. Boomer, my friend, Boomer's got some questions for you.
Hey, Liz and Elaine, how are you two girls doing?
Good.
Hey, thanks for being on the show. So where are you girls at right now?
White Bear Lake.
White Bear Lake. Are you guys nervous?
Yeah.
All right, no problem. So you've got
to bring a Sharpie to school tomorrow to sign autographs.
Yes. Well, So you girls shouldn't be nervous because, as Stru was saying, he's never shot a turkey. Now, I really love to go chase turkeys. I have a passion for chasing them, and I'm going to embarrass myself on radio so you girls don't have to be nervous, okay?
Okay.
But 2 years ago, I actually missed 2 Merriam turkeys that were 20 yards away from me. I missed them. Isn't that pretty embarrassing to say to 10,000 people?
Yeah, I guess.
Tell us a story
so
now.
Tell us your story.
Yeah, and is it legal? I think we have a game warden here who said it's illegal for both you girls to shoot the same bird, but we'll let that go. Tell us a story how this happened.
He's kidding, by the way. He's kidding.
Oh, okay.
Jesus, Drew. All right, Liz and Elaine, take it. Where did you guys hunt? Where'd you guys go?
Well, we got a suggestion from someone at my dad's, whose name is Brian's work, and her name is Dawn. And we went to a WMA. And when we first got there, we were walking to the place where we had like a set place we were planning to set up. And when we were walking there, before we got to that spot, we heard a gobble, so we kind of had to set up in a panic.
And what'd that gobble sound like?
Come on, girls.
We need sound effects.
Give us the gobble.
That's your turn, Liz. No, thank you.
No, that's all right. Continue. Go ahead, girls.
And so we had to set up just in a random spot, and we sat down and we tried to call it in for a couple hours. And eventually we saw it, but it wasn't in a position where we could shoot it. So we tried to get up and see where it was, but it got spooked and it ran away.
So let me take a step back here. So Liz and Elaine, you 14 and 15-year-old girls from White Bear Lake. You're on a WMA, which for our listeners is a wildlife management area, so it's open to public hunting. And are you out there in the morning? Is it the afternoon? What's cooking, girls?
We went there right in the morning, so we got up at like 3:50.
What was that like for you two girls?
A little different than getting up for school.
Yeah. All right, so you two girls get up, and then how did you get to the WMA? Did you get
your
a
dad,
ride
your
there?
dad Brian had to be
way?
involved, right? Was Daddy there?
Yeah. My dad and I went to Liz's house, and we got a ride there they got a ride with us.
All right.
My dad and we rode with them to the management area.
Cool. So then so I hear Dad laughing in the background. So this is awesome. So he drops you guys. I can't wait to do something like this with Soph at this early in the morning. So you guys get out there and you're walking around and you hear it gobble, right? So you kind of do the freak out dance. I still do that all the time. I'm plenty of guilty, right? I start having super big anxiety. And Stru last time was with me. He was walking around going, "Can you see me?
Can you see me?"
So don't think you're the only two that like to have fun out there. All right. Yeah. So you called at it and then it didn't do anything. And then what happened?
Well, we saw it and it was like walking behind us, but it wouldn't come out to where we could shoot it.
Okay.
So we tried to call it in a few more times, but we knew it kind of had experience, so we decided to walk towards it, and that's when we spooked it.
Really? You actually shot a turkey walking toward it. You stalked it.
Well, actually, there was 3 turkeys that we went after that morning, and on the 3rd one we got it. So the first one we didn't get.
Well, that's a thrill. I didn't think you could do that.
Well, apparently we're not little ninja girls like Liz and Elaine. But hell, my dad shot one in a gray sweatshirt, so who knows, right? All right.
Hey, girls, tell us about your hunting background. How did you guys start to learn how to hunt?
We got to hear more about the turkey now.
Okay. What happened
then? They just
then?
got their first. This is your first turkey, right, girls?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's finish it up. Let's give you girls your credit here.
So after we decided that there wouldn't be any more turkeys around after the noise we had made, we decided to keep walking, and we heard another gobble, and we settled down for a bit and tried to call it in. And so the gobble was from a swamp area, and we walked towards it and spooked that one. So, and then on our way back, we were about to leave, and we just decided to gloss the fields over before we left. And my dad, he gets down in this, like, squat position. He just goes, "Oh, my gosh, it's a big bird, big bird, big bird."
You girls have to listen to a podcast of my dad. He's just, don't worry, I'm 37 and he still does the same thing to me. Okay, keep going.
And so we had to run to the tree line, and we ended up having to army crawl. Yeah, I suggested that we try and crawl towards it so that we wouldn't spook this one. So we were crawling for a bit, and then I was a few feet away from Elaine and her dad, and there was a tree in front of me, so I was at a bad angle. But since Liz couldn't shoot it, and I had a clear shot from it laying down, I took a shot at it because my dad was like screaming, "Shoot it, shoot it!" And
that's good hunting technique, Dad. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I took a shot and I hit it and it kind of slowed it down. And then in the panic, Liz and everyone stood up, and then Liz took the last shot on it. Yeah, I was fumbling with the safety, and I finally stood up and I shot it to the ground. So.
And did you get the turkey?
Yeah.
Yay! Now, I'll tell you what, was this your first turkey hunt?
This was my second and Elaine's third, but it was the first time getting our turkey.
Are you now hooked?
Yeah.
You know, that's what people say. A lot of people say, I don't want to start turkey hunting because if I do, you know, it's like you're addicted and it's something you want to do the rest of your lives.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a thrill. What a thrill.
So Liz and Elaine, you two could be little role models here for a lot of people, and I mean that seriously. What advice would you give to other 14 and 15-year-old girls, or let's say my 8-year-old daughter, Sophia, that are interested in getting into turkey hunting? What advice could you give these girls?
I'd say go out and do it because it's a fun experience, and the thrill before shooting the turkey, it's one of a kind.
So go do it, huh?
Yeah.
Do you guys, let's talk about, okay, now you're 14 and 15 years old. Obviously, you've had the gun training. Your dad must be an avid hunter and fisher person. How old were you when you started getting involved in the outdoors with your dad?
Well, my dad, he's not much of a hunter or a fisher. It was my brother who inspired me, and he was telling me how much fun it was. So we got our gun safety together in 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad has always gone fishing, and he'd always go on hunting trips, and I figured, he comes back with all this fun stuff, and he has just a blast, and I figured after gun safety, I want to do that.
Yep. So what's next, girls? What's the next bucket list item for Liz and Elaine? Maybe you guys will be as big as, what's the girl with the blonde girl? Come on, the 5 million Facebook followers, Mark? Come on,
Laverne and Shirley.
All right, skip over it.
Yeah, forget about that.
All right, what's
next for you girls? What do you guys want to do next?
Deer hunting. We've gone a few times, but we've never shot anything.
Deer hunting, huh?
Yeah, to get a big deer.
I have to ask you this: how did it feel to clean your first turkey? How was that?
Well,
you didn't do it. You didn't do it.
I was so wiped out, I kind of just laid down on the driveway while my dad did the dirty work.
That's just like my daughter. Well, good for you girls. Now, one last question. Were you guys fully camoed up?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you girls a question. If you were to go goose hunting, would you be fully camoed up? Would you wear a camo hat?
Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because the reason he's asking that question, the one time Boomer took me goose hunting, you guys know where Jimmy's Bar and Restaurant is in White Bear Lake, Vadnais Heights. I had a Jimmy's baseball hat on, and Boomer made fun of me. But
we like to have fun. It was purple.
Well, purple's a nice color.
Well, Liz and Elaine, I am so proud of you girls and your family and your friends for supporting you, and congratulations and your rock star status at White Bear Lake High School. Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, girls, your mom has my email address. Will you do me a favor and send me a couple of pictures of what you guys accomplished, and then we will put it on the Ticket Outdoors Facebook. All right, girls?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks a lot.
Wow, before we get to break, that was a cool story. Did you find those two girls?
I find them all, pal. That's the mystery guest.
Wow. You know what? I did want to ask them, but now that, Dad's probably listening, if they had a boyfriend or not. I was going to say, so have you shot a turkey and your boyfriend hasn't?
There you go.
Yeah. All right, well, we had a great show so far. We had Ted Kaminsky, who gives us some hunting and fishing advice as far as keeping our wallet safe. Ted, we're going to get to a lake report in a minute. We had Dr. Stephen Cook, so you can catch that on the podcast.
Fun.
John Nelson, the president of the Minnesota State High School Clay Target League, and then Liz Thien and Elaine Fronta, two famous girls from Minnesota that shot their first turkey. And next, the Lake Report on Ticket Outdoors.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, only on 105 The Ticket.
Joey Logano just screens out into the lead. McMurray slots in the second. Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick side by side for third.
It's time for racing at the Tricky Triangle, Pocono Raceway, with the Axalta We Paint Winners 400. Tune in NASCAR Sprint Cup Sunday at 11 a.m.
That's the battle for the lead in turn one.
This is Brad Keselowski. This is Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is Jeff Gordon. This is Jimmy Johnson. This is Kevin Harvick.
Your home for NASCAR in the Twin Cities is Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
This isn't one of those silly, overdone commercials that makes you change stations. Nope, this is a good old-fashioned nuts and bolts commercial. Really, it's about nuts, bolts, and hardware. It's about you and Mills Fleet Farm. If you make a living fixing things and building things, you use plenty of hardware. When it comes to hardware, you need great quality, selection, and price. You need Mills Fleet Farm.
If you love the outdoors, then you probably have a truck that you love too. Custom Truck Accessories can help protect your truck from the rigors of outdoor activities. They have custom seat covers and floor mats to protect against the mud and dirt from the field. Toppers and tonneau covers to protect your gear. If you're a truck guy, you'll appreciate the knowledge and experience of the Custom Truck Accessories crew. Visit CustomTruckAccess.com or stop by their store to see what a difference being family-owned can make for you.
Hi, it's Tom with Dan Chesky from Dan's Southside Marine, introducing Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale. The damn thing takes place now, goes through Father's Day, which should take away all of your excuses for not showing up. The perfect time for Dan's Damn Boat Sale at Dan's Southside Marine.
Get great savings on Premier, Alumacraft, and Berkshire boats coming right out of my pocket. Any damn boat you see on the website's for sale, so shop online for any damn boat you want, or come down to the store at 98th and Logan in Bloomington and see him in person. Pretty damn easy, huh?
It's Dan Chesky's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington.
Our dealer incentives and factory rebates will save you a lot, and I will pitch in a few goodies too. So visit our damn website and check out the damn savings.
Everybody's talking about it. Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now through Father's Day at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington, or you can shop online at dansouthsidemarine.com.
This is your 105 The Ticket weather from Nature's Fury. Tonight, going to be mostly cloudy. Hopefully the rain goes away, low of 63. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy again. A small chance of rain, high of 80. Going to be muggy. Friday, the start of your weekend, 77. Again, a small chance of rain, about 10%. Saturday and Sunday, the rain chance increases, about 50-50 both days. High of 77 on Saturday, 78 and scattered thunderstorms on Sunday. This weather update's brought to you by Nature's Fury. You can find Nature's Fury at your local Cub Foods and select holiday stores.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
I'm tired, Boomer. It's all yours, Bill.
Man, we are down at the home front, but before we jump into the Lake Report, just want to give a quick shout-out to our sponsors. Thanks again, Dan Southside Marine. Appreciate the great job you guys do at that Alumacraft T-Pro. Our friends at Fleet Farm, who've been there since day one as we near our second year of broadcasting. Alumacraft, the great folks down in St. Peter's, get to rub elbows, maybe see Benny Spies at the Cadillac shoot.
I want to see Benny Spies.
I'll give him a hug for you.
You bet.
And Lakes Trading Company, if you're looking to get a new gun, you want some advice, visit those great folks in Forest Lake, Minnesota. And if you still want to pimp out your ride, get those big tires, black rims, why don't you visit the folks at Custom Truck and Accessories. And
I want to say one more thing to Elaine and Lizzie. Boy, thanks for being on. Young girls going out hunting and fishing. Good for you girls. Keep it up. All right, Boomer, Lake Report, pal.
You know what? That was actually one of the stories we've had where I didn't mind it cutting into the Lake Report because I thought that was just amazing. But last Lake Report, we talked about getting back to the fundamentals, and we had a lot of things that had came up, and we didn't get to quite complete it. But as I've gone down this journey, I just want to talk to our listeners about 4 things that I've really learned from anglers that are a hell of a lot better than I am. 1 is water. 2 is wind, 3 is presentation, and 4 is structure. Now, you could have hours debates about all of them. But when we talk about water, it's about temp and clarity. But I'm going to shift over to talking a little bit about structure because there was this kind of a special moment for me on the Alumacraft T-Pro. After we had finished Gull Lake, you know, we had started near the channels, and we were looking for moving water when we were chasing the fish right away, and we wanted to go after walleyes right away. The reason we did that is walleyes are a fish that have a very sensitive eyesight, hence they call them walleyes, and they're looking for those darker areas during the day. So we started to chase them very early because we knew it was going to be a sunny day, and we were looking for any type of moving water. So we fished near the channels and the bridges because that type of moving water is typically, if it's going to flow into that bay, is going to bring any type of food source, right? You could have shrimp, leeches, worms, minnows, or whatever.
Sure.
So that's exactly what Mark and I started with, and we had a really good time with that. And then we kind of changed our strategy a little bit to the largemouth bass, and we were looking more towards the shallows. Now, the water surface temp was at, what was it, Mark? Low 60s?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, it was about 60. It was 61.9 degrees.
That's why I fished with you, so you can work on that stuff.
All right, well, it was 61.9 degrees when we were fishing, and the next day it was about 63. But we were trying to chase those bass right towards the shoreline and on the edge of the weed line, so we were on that structure piece. And we had some pretty good luck. We got into some nice largemouth bass. I blew a big one at the boat. And then we also caught into some spawning rock bass that were there. Then as the day progressed, we started to look for the deeper holes for the walleyes, and we touched base about these walleyes being in deeper spots just a couple minutes ago on other lake reports, is we went and looked for where the break lines were really tight on your graph. And what I mean by that is if you're looking at your fish finder or whatnot and it has a topical graphical map of the lake, you see those little lines, and those lines are increments of feet. Some are a foot, some are 2, some are 3. What we were looking for was really tight lines and a deep hole. And remember what we had found out there? It was Booming Bay for our listeners. If you got to go rock it out, we saw some fish there in a deep hole, and we had luck with it. But we only got a couple minutes, but one of the coolest memories I guess we had was when we had Nick, your 2-year-old, out in the boat, and Mark's like, you know what, we got to get him on some fish. For our listeners out there, if you're looking to get your kids on fish, what we did is we looked for a little moving water, so we were fishing near a channel, and we were looking for some tight break lines near the shoreline, because that told us that there was some type of structure drop-off, there was some type of vegetation, we saw some sand there, and then that's what would be holding panfish. And Mark, pretty good luck, huh?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, Panfish, great thing to get kids started in, get out there, get catching fish, and it was a great time.
This was a fun tournament. It's a fundraiser.
Yes.
But even though that's the case, were you communicating with other fishermen out there at all?
Really, this tournament for me has a lot bigger meaning than placing in any board. So it was all about, we did a little pre-scouting to it, but it was all about catching some fish, putting some smiles. And then when Mark talked about having Nick, honestly, at this stage in the game for me, Stu, I get more kicks out of watching a 2-year-old catch a fish than holding any trophy.
Do you realize how blessed you are?
Every day's a gift, my friend.
That's what they call it?
The Ticket Outdoors.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Ticket Outdoors, rebroadcast Sunday morning, 6 to 8. Podcast anytime in a couple of days.
I'll have it tomorrow.
And go to Facebook.com/105 The Ticket. We'll talk to you next Wednesday on The Ticket Outdoors.
God bless you.
For Father's Day, get Dad gifts from his favorite store, Fleet Farm. Dad will feel like a king on the Cloud 9 hanging lounge chair, $158.88. The Berkeley Deluxe Electric Filet Knife Kit is $39.99. A DeWalt 20-volt drill driver kit is $99. Dad can do some serious cooking on a Traeger Littletex Elite Grill, $599.99. And can't decide? Fleet Farm gift cards make great gifts.